Independence Day, listen to this. Join me, John Andrews, at Western Conservative Summit 2014 on July 18th to 20th in Denver. Speakers include Bobby Jindal, Ben Carson, Mike Lee, Tim Scott, Hugh Hewitt, K.T. McFarland, Dennis Prager, Alan West, Michelle Bachmann, Betsy McCoy, Daniel Hannon from Britain, Bo Snerdley from Rush, Guy Benson, Linda Chavez, and many more. Plus Persuasion Boot Camp, the Right Movies Film Festival, grassroots training workshops, terrific entertainment, 100 exhibitors, student scholarships, and 2,000 fellow Friends of Freedom. It's a weekend that could change your life. Reserve online at westernconservativesummit.com or by phone at 866-558-8309. Don't miss the Western Conservative Summit.
This is the legendary KLZ, AM 560, KLZ HD Denver, and online streaming at 560thesource.com since 1922. KLZ Denver.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses.
Hit it.
Our Lady of Blessed Acceleration, don't fail me now.
It's time for Drive Radio, presented by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Whether you need help diagnosing a problem,
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
or just want to learn about all things automotive,
Hey, how exactly does a Positrack rear on the Plymouth work? It just does.
then you've come to the right place. So start your engines, buckle up, and get ready to ride. Drive Radio starts now on KLZ 560 The Source.
All right, and good morning, everybody. Welcome, all the folks watching us on YouTube. Hopefully there's some out there that are. If not, I know you'll catch it later. So welcome. Appreciate you listening, watching us. And by the way, if you'd like to see us on YouTube, you can go right to our homepage, drive-radio.com, and you can actually look on the feed right there, and then we leave that up the following week so that you can actually go click on that, watch it, and you can also still view us via or listen to us via podcast, etc. In studio with me today, Dorsey Johnson. Good morning, Doris. Welcome. Doris was with me Thursday night also, or Thursday evening.
Long time no see.
Yeah, exactly. We did Haystack, Colorado. Haystack Help, Scott Watley Show. Also, Sportsman's Colorado is his other show that's on early in the morning on Saturday, 7 to 8 a.m. Some of you that are up and about nice and early and are the outdoorsy type, which, by the way, we have a lot here in Colorado, I encourage you to listen to Scott's show. He does a great job. It's a lot of fun. It's right up your alley, too, isn't it, Doris?
Out before the flies hatch.
Nice and early. Nice and early. All right, so we've got several things in store for you today. We would encourage you, though, to call in. And by the way, nice warm day. It's a little bit cloudy out, not super, super sunny. So if you've got questions, maybe you're out and about working on the car, doing some different things, by all means, let us know what that is. Give us a call. Whatever question you have, we say it a lot and we mean it sincerely. There are no dumb questions on Drive Radio. If you don't know the answer, it's a fantastic question. And chances are, rarely do we get a question that I don't think somebody else out there, somebody else out there doesn't know the answer to. So my point there is, if you don't know the answer, somebody else out there has exactly the same question. So you calling in and asking it doesn't only benefit you, it also benefits somebody else out there listening. And, by the way, we say this a lot too, and I know Dorsey feels the same way. There isn't a show I do on this radio station, whether it's this show or my other show, Rush to Reason, that plays during the week from 2 to 3 p.m. In either case, I learn something every time I'm on the radio. So sometimes you calling us teaches us things as much as we are teaching you. So all the more reason to call in. This is a community effort. We come down and do the show. We host it. We talk about a lot of different topics. But keep in mind, you all help each other by the things that you call in, talk about, discuss, advise us on, all sorts of things that you guys do. In fact, one of today's topics, we're going to talk batteries here in just a little bit. Some of you started that conversation and what we can do to actually extend the life of batteries several weeks ago. So it was you as listeners that really even prompted us to do what we're doing today in regards to topics, a special product we're going to introduce to you, etc. We wouldn't have some of that today if it weren't for you guys as listeners. So very important for you guys to listen in, call us, Talk to us. Ask us what your questions are. Give us your thoughts and opinions on different things that are going on. We would love to hear from you. Lines are open, 303-477-5600. Call us, and we'll get you right on air. A couple of announcements that are coming up, events that are coming up, I should say. Next Saturday, so a week from today, and we actually were going to try to do the radio show from the event, but we decided that I think we'd be more in the way than we'd actually be there to help. So we're going to be in studio, not on site, but we'll still announce it next week. Next Saturday, the 28th, right? Is the free? I'm looking at my producers and engineers in here. So the 28th is next Saturday. That's the free oil change event. If you know somebody, especially a single mom, older lady, widow, anybody that you know would need some special help with their car, especially when it comes to changing oil and a free inspection, and it's free of charge. There is no cost on this. You can register whoever that is 2 different ways. Call 720-588-0691. Again, that's 720-588-0691, or send an email to mensministry@coloradoridge.com. Either way, they will get you registered. And by the way, this is an event that Colorado Ridge Church is putting on. Their men's ministry felt a call to actually do this, put this program on. Our member shop, DIY auto repair shops up in the Westminster area, they have decided to give some of their bays away for the day, so they're going to lose some revenue, by the way, to make this happen. So a special thanks goes out to those guys, Craig Wallace and all of his guys up there. That event wouldn't happen without them donating some space to make it happen. Something that's very important, you hear us talk about this on the show a lot. The reason you need to make an appointment is, A, they need to stick you in a time slot so they know exactly when you're going to show up. And it's important, by the way, to be there on time. Secondly, and Dorsey, you know this, we need the vehicle make, so year, make, model, and engine. It's important if you can have all of those. If you've got the VIN number, that even helps it that much further. But we need that information. Why? We talk about it a lot on this show. Every vehicle out there is requiring different oil, different filters,
right,
and they want to make sure they have all of that in stock for your particular vehicle, your name on it, etc. This is a big effort. You know, gone are the days where a shop can stock a couple of different oils, a dozen oil filters, and fit every vehicle on the road. Because guess what? At one time, we could just about do that, right, Dorsey?
do it, yeah.
We really could. Nowadays, it's very vehicle specific, so it's important for you guys to do that. So again, make sure that you get that done. Register. By the way, all of this information is also on our website, drive-radio.com. In 3 weeks from today, is that right? 3 weeks from today, July 5th. I'm thinking of that right? Yeah, 3 weeks from today. We're going to be out at Extreme Automotive, or Extreme Auto Repair, I should say. Dennis's shop out in Parker. He's having a big rummage/garage sale, and it's not just for automotive stuff. There's going to be carpentry tools and woodworking stuff and lawn equipment and trailers and probably some vehicles and some automotive gear. So it'll be a great show. We will be there on remote. That'll be the day after the 4th, so come out. That'll be a nice, relaxing weekend. We'll have some giveaways. There'll be a lot of stuff there. I know several shops already that have equipment that they're going to have there for sale. I'm not going to give that away because I don't want to spoil it, but you'll just want to come out, check it out, buy the stuff. We'll help you with it, and that'll be a great, fun day. So we've got a couple of minutes here before we go to a break. Let's take a couple phone calls. Dorsey, Drew is up first. Drew, welcome. What's going on this morning?
Hi, I'm just calling for a second opinion here.
Sure.
About a little Ford Ranger.
Okay.
100,000 miles on it. The transmission fluid was almost black.
Okay.
Took it down, had it flushed, and after they flushed it, the tech came back to me and said, "Hey, the fluid's still black," and or he said dark.
Okay.
and so I thought, well, that's fine, and asked him if he changed the filter, and he said, no, on the Ford Ranger, they don't have a filter per se, they just have a little screen.
They have a screen, that's right.
Mm-hmm. And drove away. Well, when I pulled the dipstick, and just out of curiosity, I pulled the dipstick. It is almost as black as it was when I bought it.
Okay.
And I'm just wondering, is that possible? To get that dark that fast.
What did it look like the day they changed it, or did you check it that quickly?
Yeah, I checked it that quickly.
And it was dark that day?
Yeah, I literally drove away, probably 5 miles.
That doesn't sound, something doesn't sound right, because even, and Dorsey, I'll let you chime in on this too, but even one that's really, really, really black, when you flush it, you're literally, the way we do it in the Colorado Select facilities is we put an additive in that does a really good job of releasing a lot of the contaminants that are inside the varnish, etc. That then gets literally, we transfer all of that fluid out, transfer all new fluid in, and the chances of having it dark, because you literally can watch the fluid change colors in the machine as it's doing the transfer. Something just doesn't sound right here. Dorsey, what are your thoughts?
I've over the years, I've had a few that were so black that we had to flush them twice.
2 times. But there still should have been a noticeable difference in the color.
There was somewhat of a difference, but not enough that we were satisfied with it, so we went ahead and double flushed it. Yep.
And that, in no offense, Drew, to anybody that did this, but really that should have been a communication piece with you while the flush was going on. In other words, you do the flush, it's still dark. You get on the phone and you say, hey, Drew, we got your Ranger in here. We flushed it once and the fluid is really, really dark. I think we need to double flush it. Here's the cost of that. That would have been the proper way to handle that situation.
Yeah, that was kind of, I'm going to go back to the shop. The guy's a great guy, and he told me, he said, I was watching it, going through the window, it was red, and he says, but it is just really dark, and so what can, and he said, why don't you drive it for a little while, come back and, 10,000 and do it again. And
I'd do it sooner than that. I wouldn't go 10,000.
Yeah, so what do you think would be reasonable for a second flush?
Well, in defense of him, he's going to do the exact same procedure again, although if he would have had all the equipment on it, hooked up, there would have been less labor, so he really should give you some discount for the second one, because if he'd have done it at exactly that time when he had all the equipment hooked up, it really would have been a matter of a little bit of extra labor and some fluid charges, and that's all you would have paid for. So, you wouldn't have had, for example, let's say a flush is $300. Well, you wouldn't have paid $300 twice initially.
Exactly.
You'd have had a discount for that second one, and I think he needs to stand up and probably give you a discount for the second flush to help you out.
Yeah, and so how much is the fluid, the cost on the fluid, ballpark?
What year Ranger is it?
2009.
So it's Mercon 5. That's a little more spendy fluid. No.
And by the way, I don't have any of that info right in front of me. It's not uncommon in today's world to spend anywhere from $4.50 to $6 a quart for that type of fluid.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I'm fine with it. I just,
But again, the labor, here's where I'm looking at this. He should be able to, whatever his, and I hate to say hourly rates, et cetera, because we don't get into much of that on the show, but really there should be a discount on his hourly rate for the second flush, because again, if he had all of the lines undone, hooked up to the machine, everything's there, et cetera, he's saving himself a solid 45 minutes to an hour at that particular time, so you should be saving that now on this second flush.
Yeah, and I just want to be fair both ways.
No, and I think, and honestly, if I were to go in and ask, if somebody came into me as an owner and asked us that, I think that would be a very fair request on your part.
That's what we've usually done.
You're not wanting it free. You're just wanting a discount on this second flush.
Yep. Okay. Well, hey, appreciate your time.
You're very welcome, Drew. Appreciate the phone call. Great question, by the way. Line open, 303-477-5600. Let's go to Chris, who's up next. Chris, welcome. What's going on this morning?
Yes, I got a 2006 Kia Sportage, and it's got the original battery, and it ended up, it's been sitting for a while until the plates expire, but and the battery, it would be worth just recharging that, or would I?
No. In fact, you're segueing right into what one of our topics today was, which was batteries. So this is a perfect question, and we talked about this Thursday on the Haystack Help Radio. Batteries have a lifespan, period. And you are now 8 years old, basically, on that battery. I don't care if that was the best battery made in 06, it's due.
Okay.
Period.
And I got one other question for you. It's got a manual transmission. Should I just can I just flush that myself, or should I take it in and have it washed and rinsed or flushed out professionally?
Normally, you just drain and refill those.
Right.
All right.
So that's something you could, as long as you got the right fluid, that you've got the right fluid.
The right fluid, the right procedure to do it. Yeah, you should be fine doing that yourself.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I don't see why you wouldn't have any issues with that at all. And there's nothing, we don't flush those typically. You know, manual transmission there's no filters. There's a magnet typically on the drain plug that's picking up some debris that you want to make sure you clean off. But really, you're just going to put new fluid in it, and that's all you're doing.
Excellent. Excellent. And by the way, I do like Rush to Reason. I listen to that as well.
Chris, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, have a good day.
You too. Have a great week. We appreciate it very much. And yeah, and Chris just brought up a great point. We've got another show that I do daily, I shouldn't say, not weekly, daily through the week, 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock every day here on KLZ called Rush to Reason. We talk about all sorts of different topics that we can't talk about here. I shouldn't say we can't talk about. We just don't. This is an automotive show. We talk automotive on Rush to Reason. We talk about all sorts of other things, you name it. Whatever's going on in the world, how it affects you. In a lot of cases, how does it affect your business? How does it affect your pocketbook? How does it affect just society in general? We talk about a lot of different things, and yes, I appreciate Chris and a lot of you other listeners that I've heard even from you calling in, emailing, etc. We appreciate that greatly, and I know KLZ does too. So a quick plug, KLZ's got a lot of great programming during the week. Wake Up with Randy Corcoran first thing in the morning. Laura Ingram is on right after that, nationally syndicated show, and Laura, if you've never heard her, does a fantastic job. She is absolutely one of the most intelligent, funny women when it comes to daily events, political things, etc. that's out there. You will enjoy listening to her. We also have Experience Pros that's on right after that. And then we have Freedom 560 with Ken Clark. My show is 2 to 3 p.m. And then we have Bob Duco on right after that, followed up by Haystack Help Radio, which we are on every other Thursday. So we were just on this last Thursday. It'll be 2 weeks before we're on again. And then lastly, we have Grassroots Radio on right in the evening. So Jerry from Greeley, hang tight. You've got an automotive transmission question. That'll be a great, an automatic transmission question. That'll be a great question. Hang with us. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come right back. Take some more calls. We've got lines open, 303-477-5600. You're listening to Drive Radio. John Rush, Dorsey Johnson, KLZ 560, The Source.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle, regardless of make or...
Yeah, we were pretty surprised. They just started right off the bat.
Go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care Center...
Very good questions.
...the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind Warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
You can't change a tattoo from Tracy to Stacy for $20.99, and you can't change that viral video of you at the company party for just $20.99. But you can change your oil. Right now, get 5 quarts of Pennzoil conventional oil in a Napa silver filter for just $20.99. Conquer the job. That's Napa know-how. General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 6/30/14.
Have you ever wished there was a place you could take your car, put it on a lift, and work on it yourself? My name is Craig Wallace, owner of DIY Auto Repair Shops. We have the lift, the tools, and the expertise. We offer a multi-tier program that allows you to do it yourself, technically assisted, or we can fix it for you. Check us out online at DIYAutoRepairShops.com or give us a call at 303-429-4000. Again, that's 303-429-4000. Let us know you heard about DIY on Drive Radio, and you'll receive 50% off your first...
Yeah, let me look around and see what I've got.
Repairing and maintaining your car.
Need a one-stop auto repair solution in northern Colorado?
We'll definitely look in the future. If I can't find anything now, I'll talk to Charlie, and we'll get him in for next week.
So pickups to economy cars, their team of...
Okay, well, we'll put in... I know we had a Rush to Reason this morning, so I think it was right before your show.
Service in the industry, from preventative maintenance to major repairs.
Alrighty.
Vehicle to Fort Collins 4x4, located just a few blocks north of Old Town on College Avenue in Hemlock. They're open Monday through Friday, 7:30 until 5:30, with convenient shuttle service and after-hours drop. If you're ready to form a solid relationship with an auto repair shop, the new owners at Fort Collins 4x4 are committed to providing the professional and personal service you're looking for. Give them a call at 970-482-5500. 970-482-5500. Check them out on the web at FortCollins4x4.com or follow them on Facebook at FortCollins4x4.com.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
All right, thanks for listening. Drive Radio, John Rush, your host. One line open is all, 303-477-5600. Give us a call, and we'll plug you right on air. We're going to go right to Jerry, who's up in Greeley. Jerry, welcome. What's going on today? Hello, Jerry.
Honda Accord with 183,000 on it.
Okay.
And he says the tranny's slipping between first and second. Back when the thing was only had 33,000 miles on it, Honda, I guess, did a recall and replaced the transmission.
Okay.
They told him that they had a lot of failures in those. And anyway, I just wondered if you had any ideas on that.
And we missed the year on that. I apologize. You broke up for just a second. What year Accord is it?
01.
01. So basically, this transmission has about 150,000 on it. Is that what you're telling us?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So 150K. Has it been serviced or had any maintenance done to it up to this point from when it was replaced at 30K?
Yeah. Well, he said, I don't know about regularly, but he said recently when it started slipping that he took it to somebody and they did some sort of diagnostic and couldn't find any real problems. They just changed the fluid and there's really been no improvement.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the downsides to that transmission is all you can do is a drain and refill on it. You can't flush them. So you just pull a drain plug and drain what fluid you can get and refill them.
Okay.
And it doesn't get all the fluid out unless you pull. There's two drain plugs. There's a rear case that holds some fluid in it, and that fluid usually gets really nasty. So they are problematic. You're probably just looking at an overhaul on that.
Generally speaking, would an overhaul be a better way to go than a rebuilt transmission?
It's basically the same thing. They either rebuild yours or they take a rebuild off the shelf.
Okay.
It's no difference which way you do it.
All righty. Well, I appreciate the advice, gentlemen.
Okay. Yep. Jerry, appreciate the phone call very much. We got a line open, 303-477-5600. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. And, yeah, I did talk about a minute ago we were going to have on our topics today. If we get to all of them, we'll get to as many as we can. Batteries are one thing we are going to talk about, how to extend the life, when is it time to put a battery in, what's the difference in batteries, cost, what do you get, etc. Do you get what you pay for, that sort of thing. Also would like to talk about what happens when your car overheats, how to keep it from overheating. We talked about some of this on Thursday night, and again, if we have time for that, we will. And then also talking about brakes if we get time to actually do that. So most of all, though, we want to take your calls. You guys direct where we go. I know a lot of times we have topics that we're going to cover. We get to them briefly because you all have questions that we're trying to answer, and by all means, that is way more important than whatever topic we have. So any question you've got, doesn't matter what it is. Today we've already talked about transmissions, some batteries, fluids, whatever the question, you call us, we'll answer it for you, 303-477-5600. Robert up in Erie, you're next. What's going on today, Robert?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I kind of got screwed up in the auto parts. I love Haviland because my old tractors always had it. I never ever had any problems with it. So I bought the Haviland. I get it up to the cash register, and he says, well, I think it was $28 for 5 quarts. And he said, well, if you buy this, it's $18, but you got to get this filter.
Okay.
So I goes ahead, and he says, Purolator makes this filter. So when I get, and I'm pretty bullheaded on real good filters.
Got it.
So anyhow, I gets home and it says Drive Works, and I open the box up and it says China. Well, hell, they can't even make dog food.
Yeah, and we are not, I'm not trying to bash anybody, but on this show, and you guys have heard us many times talk about it, we are not big on imported oil filters, especially what we consider to be subpar oil filters. And typically, typically what we have found is a lot of those filters that are coming in overseas are subpar and just will not do what you need to do. Now, to answer your initial question, the Haviland, good product. I'm not going to say anything bad about that. If you've had good luck with their product and want to keep using it, do so. But I also would reiterate what you're saying. I'm not a big fan. We are not a big fan of the imported, especially Chinese oil filters.
Yeah, heck, you can watch the news, and every week there's something, bad food, bad pills, bad this, bad that, and it just, I figure, well, what the heck is this country?
Well, and this is, this is more of a topic for what I talk about on Rush to Reason during the week, but the reality is, and you bring up a great point, the more we can buy what we make here in this country, the more we're helping ourselves out. And I realize there's certain imports and things that we have to buy overseas, and, in some cases you don't have much choice. But when it comes to auto parts and when it comes to especially oil filters, you definitely have a choice.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Yeah, unless it's got a name brand company like Wix, Napa Gold.
Right.
Those guys, even Purolator, if they're going to put their own name on the filter, they're going to have a spec that filter's built to.
Right.
A cut rate company can order a filter that has toilet paper in it.
That's right. Yeah, they can change the media, they can change the bypass valve, they can change the can construction. Robert, to your point, I would not put that filter on. If you got a good enough discount where you felt like it was worthwhile, great. Donate that filter, throw it away. I honestly wouldn't donate it because I wouldn't want anybody else putting it on their car either. That one would end up in the trash can if it were me, and just put a good, premium Napa filter on it and be done with it.
Right. But I got another question. My neighbor had a Packard.
Okay.
On the thing, and he said, your buddy who just talked, I can't think of his name.
Who, me?
The guy next to you.
Dorsey?
That's Dorsey. That's
me. Well, they could put toilet paper. Well, I remember in the 50s they...
Franz Oil Cleaners?
Yeah, they put a toilet paper in there.
Yeah.
I remember those too. I'm not as old as Dorsey, but I remember those days. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, you had, and some of them, didn't they have some where they had two, where you could actually put two rolls in the...
backup roll.
Yeah, the backup roll.
Okay, that tells you how old I am.
Yeah, well, likewise. We're all getting up there, unfortunately.
All righty, thanks.
Robert, thanks for calling in and for listening. Yeah, that's a good story. The young guys are laughing, saying, what in the world are these guys talking about? So to explain that to some of you maybe that don't even remember that, or that are younger, back in the day, and I think the company was called France, wasn't it?
Yeah.
FRANZ, right?
Yeah.
They built this contraption, if you would, that would attach to your vehicle's oil filter system, and you literally used drop-in toilet paper rolls. They became the oil filter. Larry's shaking his head because he remembers. See, Matt doesn't remember. This is a learning lesson for Matt, our engineer. He's young enough. He has no clue what we're talking about. So, yeah, back in those days, you bought this kit, you put it on the car, and the claim to fame was you could save money by just using a roll of toilet paper.
Never change your oil.
Never change the oil. Just change the oil filter, or change the toilet paper rolls, which were the oil filter, add a couple quarts of oil at that point in time, and keep rolling along. I wonder how many engines died because of that, Dorsey.
I've seen them where you pull the rocker cover off and you can't even see the valve springs.
Because they're so coated up with sludge. Yeah. Was not a good idea. I would not advise that. Robert bringing that up was just a tongue-in-cheek reminding us of what it was like in the old days. So, use modern, high-quality, made in America, by the way, oil filters. Now, I will also say, to kind of go back to what Robert was saying a minute ago, in some cases, on some Asian-type vehicles, some of the Korean vehicles, when you go to buy an oil filter for those, depending upon who's making it, where it's coming from, etc., that may be a filter coming from overseas, especially if it's an OEM-type filter.
Yeah.
Just keep in mind, if it is an OEM filter from the dealer or something along those lines, that one's going to be okay because it'll meet all the specs, etc. But if it's just a, no-name, whatever brand filter says made in China on it, yeah, I'd run away from those. That's just our advice. So, guys, we got lines open. Love to hear from you. Oil questions, oil, coolant, transmission, brakes, batteries we're going to get into. You name it, whatever it is, we'd love to chat with you. Lines are open, 303-477-5600. And as we say always, there's no dumb question on Drive Radio. We'll be back right after these messages. KLZ 560, The Source. Having transmission problems? Stop by Larry's Automotive today. We're your only...
I sure did learn something.
Also specializes in automatic and manual transmissions. We're a family-owned small business taking care of your family-owned fleet of cars, trucks, and SUVs since 1994. We specialize in transmission and drivetrain problems and offer a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. We're also an ATRA member. Call us at 303-427-2108 for an appointment, or find us on the web at coloradoselect.com. Larry's Automotive, a proud member of Colorado Select Auto Care.
K&N's premium oil filters are very different. They make oil changes easier. K&N's wrench-off oil filters have a 1-inch nut welded on the top, so you can easily change the filter with a wrench or ratchet. And used with a Ziploc freezer bag, you can even remove a K&N oil filter with no oil spillage at all. Another great product from K&N, an American manufacturer since 1969.
Are you driving with a check engine light on? Has that light been going on and off? Arvada West Auto and Truck is here to help you understand what could be wrong. Our technicians are specially trained to handle warning lights. If your vehicle is a 1996 or newer, it stores a history that helps us diagnose the problem, even if the warning light is not currently on. Don't wait until your vehicle breaks down and leaves you stranded. Call 303-422-1065. Stop by 11752 West 64th Avenue or visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com, where every question is important.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for the highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
All right, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it very much. Thanks again also for all the calls and the kind words. Several ways you can get in touch with us to get your question answered. Call us, 303-477-5600. You can also go to facebook.com/driveradio. We've got people that ask questions there all the time, and that's kind of fun because everybody else gets to see the question and the answer, kind of like what we do here on the radio show. Lastly, even during the show, and we had a lot of these last week, feel free to do this again today. It worked out perfect. It actually gives us time to study up, have a good answer for you. You can email us your question, John, John, at drive-radio.com. Send us an email. We'll answer that question for you on air. Some of you don't have time to go on air, don't want to wait on hold, don't want to talk on air. You know, there's this fear factor that we have going on, which, by the way, we'll make that for as convenient for you and as easy as possible. But at any rate, those are the ways to communicate with us. So again, 303-477-5600. Lines are open, by the way. Call us. We'll get you right on air. Send us an email, John at drive-radio.com, or go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/driveradio. Any one of those ways we can get to you, we'll communicate with you, etc. Okay, we've got a couple of minutes here, Dorsey, before we get this next caller queued up. Batteries. We had one caller today already talking about that. His car was a 2006, battery is dead. Do I charge it up? No. In that case, it's old enough. You just take it out, replace it. Now, we talked Thursday about this in depth. We'll get to as much of it today as we possibly can. Do you get what you pay for when it comes to buying a battery?
Well, it depends on what you buy. You need to do a little research before you buy a battery. Just don't go down to the auto parts store or Walmart or somewhere and pick one out and, well, this looks good, it's my size. They'll usually have a little chart hanging on the counter, and you can pick out your size. You need to know what you're buying.
Right.
How many reserve amps it's got, what's its cold cranking amp capacity, is it sealed, is it a hybrid battery that you need to pay attention to the water and keep it filled. You need to know a little bit about it.
Exactly. And we'll talk about a product. In fact, some of the all the Colorado Select facilities will be carrying this here in the near future. We're working on distribution for this right now. Some of you called in a few weeks ago, asked about Thermoil, which is a product that helps maintain, I shouldn't say that, that's not the right way to say it. It's a oil additive for a battery not sealed, so open, the regular maintenance type batteries that have the ability to check the water, check acid levels, etc. This is a product you put inside the battery that keeps the battery from venting off,
All right.
which helps keep the corrosion down. It almost makes it a maintenance-free battery, but in essence, better than a maintenance-free battery because you can check the levels. On a maintenance-free battery, you have no ability to check the cell levels at any point in time after you've put that battery in. So I think what we've learned here these last few weeks is really the best battery for today, if you can do it, would be to find a regular open type battery where you have to maintain it, use the thermoil in it where you can actually watch the cell levels, etc. when it comes to the fluid that's in them. Maintain that, you'll actually end up with a longer lasting battery than you even will a maintenance-free battery.
Yeah, especially on deep cycles.
Exactly. Deep cycles, RVs, heavy diesels. Some of you guys in the fleet business that are running forklifts have a lot of battery packs. You guys that are listening, I know that a lot of you listen in some of those city fleet departments. You've got golf carts and other things running around on the golf courses. Especially in those cases, we can take a 6-volt battery with this particular product and double the life of that battery by using this particular product. So we're going to have that ability to distribute that through our Colorado Select facilities and other means. We'll mention more about that in the weeks ahead, but we've now got that thermoil. We figured it out. We're going to be a distributor for it. We'll distribute it out here in Colorado, and it's a great product. We'll talk more about that here in the weeks ahead. Let's go to Mickey, who's next. Mickey, welcome. What's going on today?
Hey, guys, I picked up a Hone overdrive last weekend.
What overdrive?
Hone. The Hono drive.
Oh, a Hono drive, okay.
And it's got 80W90 in it. I was going to take it apart, flush it out, and wanted to figure what I could put back into it besides straight 8090. I was thinking about putting a synthetic in.
You could. I don't think you're not gonna harm anything by going to a synthetic, although those are old enough where they were designed where they would run off 8090 also. So yeah. The difference is the full synthetic 8090 will just last longer, give you better protection, better lubrication at cold temperatures, etc.
Okay, got another question if you don't mind.
Sure, go right ahead.
Okay, I got a 2000 GMC Sierra. If I put it behind that, would it make the computer crazy? Because when I was in two wheels, if I put it on the rear drive line so that I could get another 30%, because it's an automatic overdrive as it is.
Correct.
And to drop it another 30%, I was trying to figure if I could keep the RPMs down, if I'd save anything. Or
I don't think you're going to save enough for what you'll merit in putting that unit in, making it all function properly electronically, as you just mentioned, getting the drive shaft shortened and the expense of that. I don't think when it's all said and done, you're going to see enough gain to even merit the headache.
Okay.
Because you're probably, is that a 5.3 engine?
Yep.
You're probably, I mean, on the highway, you ought to be able to get up into the high teens, low 20s already, correct?
Yeah.
It's going to be tough to do much better than that because the problem is the 5.3 doesn't really have enough low-end torque to really drive that at a, you're already probably running in the high, 18, 1900 RPM when you're running down the road at, 60 miles an hour, 65. You may get up into the low 2000s when you, depending on the gear ratio, when you get into, 75, 80 miles an hour. It's going to be tough for that engine to pull much lower RPM than that anyways.
It's not a diesel.
It's right. It wasn't made to do it any lower than that.
All right.
So I really don't think you're going to gain enough on that to merit anything.
Okay, then into the old vet it goes.
Okay. Well, and if it's something you want to just hang on to, that's great. Or find somebody with an older truck that only had a 3-speed, automatic where, where that would be an advantage to them. And then, yeah, or an old Ford, Chevy, Dodge. I mean, in that particular case, there's some value, and you could probably make some money on it.
I was thinking more, I got a 78 vet with a plain 4-speed. I was thinking it might go in there.
Yeah, you could do that too. Yeah, any of those types of cars where there's no overdrive in it would be your best bet. A double overdrive in this day and age, I just don't think you're gaining enough to mess with it.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you have a chance to check out Oberg?
Yes, we did, and looked at all their stuff during the week, and very, very interesting. Going to do more research on that, I'll be honest. I had a super, super busy week. I looked at it as soon as I got home. Actually, I downloaded everything from the conversation we had last week, got home, looked at everything, and I'm going to do more investigative work on that. That's a very interesting company, and kind of like the Thermoil. If it ends up being something that works, we may end up doing something with that.
That'd be great. I hope you guys become a distributor.
We will keep you posted and let you know. So, yes, it was very interesting. I enjoyed that tip very much. Thanks, Mickey.
Okay, have a good day.
Hey, have a great week. We appreciate it very much. 303-477-5600. And again, you can get a hold of us by calling 303-477-5600 or email us, John, John, at drive-radio.com. Give us a question there. We'll get it answered for you as quickly as we can, and typically we can do that on air. And if you want, one thing I probably should specify, if you want it on air, tell us. If you want me to just email you a question back or an answer back, then I'll wait and do that after the show is over, and I'll email it back to you. But if you want us to talk about it on air, just put that in your description, and we'll do so. So let's go to Jay, who's up next. Jay, welcome.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Hey, is there a product of any kind you're aware of that will flush out the black goo of death from neglected Dexcool?
BG actually makes a pretty good coolant flush product that you could use, at home, or we use in the shops. It actually works pretty well. The best way to do that, though, honestly, is to go to one of our Colorado Select facilities that has the new Gates flush tool and let them flush it out with that tool.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the best way to do it.
Tried the Prestone, didn't do anything. I was ready to dump a gallon of vinegar in that damn thing and drive it around for a while.
Well, and just to kind of refresh everybody's memory on the Gates tool, and Dorsey, you've used that way more than I have. Explain that tool, how it works, and the difference between it and a regular flush machine.
Well, what we do with the tool is we break the system down in like 3 components. We flush the radiator separately, the engine separately, and the heater core. And it's a high-pressure gun that runs high-pressure air, compressed air, and water through it.
Which basically makes the water turn into a, I don't know how else to explain it. It's like a jet. Yeah, I mean, you're putting enough bubbles and you're doing enough with the actual water. That's right. It's agitating the water enough to where it's becoming the scrubbing device versus having a chemical try to do that.
Right. Maybe do the throw in.
And it works, by the way.
Yeah, it's really high pressure.
Yeah, it works extremely well. So anybody out there that's got any kind of a, grody, contaminated, it's been a long time since the system's been flushed, this Gates tool is the cat's meow. It works.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks.
Okay, does that help you out?
I think so.
And Jay, by the way, and we've changed our methods on this from years past. If some of you out there listening to shows, even 3 or 4 years ago, we would at one point in time tell you, hey, change out a Dexcool, go put a different coolant in it. In today's world, unless you're going to go to one of the high-end hybrid coolants that will make sure it meets everybody's demands, you can do that, or just go back to the original Dexcool.
Okay.
Okay. That's the best way to don't go to green is our point.
Yeah, like us, we'd use a poly-organic.
Right. Exactly, which works well, by the way. All right, let's go to Mike up in Sterling, who's got a comment. Mike, what's going on today?
Hi, you brought up the France filters.
Yes.
Oh, and it just brought up a whole bunch of humor for me. I've been twisting wrenches longer than you, and maybe not as much as Dorsey, but a long time.
Yep.
And I had a young preacher, he brought up this France filter, and I told him, I said, just don't do it. Don't do it. And he said, well, if I do that, then I can save enough for a choir. Well, the choir never sang. He took it, and then he and some of his other compadres, they hooked it up, and they hooked it right to the oil pressure on the top of a small block Chevrolet.
Got it. Yep.
And up to the France filter, and then they emptied it back down, and they brazed a fitting to go in the top of the valve cover.
Oh, man.
Nothing could have gone worse.
Oh, man.
And he had me out there, called me out there to see. He says, well, my car won't start. And I said, oh, really? How come? And he said, well, the starter just clicks.
It's locked up. That's why. Pistons are seized up in it, or the rods are seized up. That's why.
Yeah, I went out there and I looked, and they said, oh, my God, this thing hasn't had any oil.
Oh, man. That's a good story. Yeah, those things we were asking a minute ago how many engines got ruined. Well, there's a perfect example of one.
Anytime I saw one on anything, I knew the engine was.
Oh, I know.
It wasn't ruined. It was just.
That's right. You just look at that, you'd shake your head and say, why? You know, what? Here's what amazes me, and maybe somebody else can answer this. You know, they're no longer around, not in existence. They had to have gotten sued at some point from people like what you just described, where these things ruined engines.
I'm sure, but, you know, back in those days, we didn't have all these lawyers.
That's true.
Too happy.
Yeah,
litigious people.
That's true.
You know, we did a lot of things in our shops that somebody today would sue us for.
Yeah, you're right.
And it was probably just an accident.
Yeah, no, you're right. And in a lot of cases, it was either lack of knowledge, didn't know any better. But to your point, we just, you know, we just weren't as litigious as we are today. And
yeah,
and honestly, not trying to sound like an old guy, but those were good times.
Yeah, they were.
They were. So.
Well, I just
appreciate it, Mike.
I got to laughing so hard when I heard that.
Appreciate it.
I thought I'd fall off.
Good. Glad we can bring some humor to you. Have a great afternoon. We appreciate the phone call. We got one line open, 303-477-5600. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. Jose, hang with us up in Greeley with your new diesel. We'll call you back, or we'll get you on the line in just a second here. And with that, we've got a line open again, 303-477-5600. Matt, take us away. We'll go to a break, and we'll come right back. Listen to these sponsors. They're the guys that pay the bills, not only for us, but here on KLZ. And I say it a lot. If you like what we do on this program, listen to the sponsors' commercials. Use them. We've got a lot of new sponsors. I'll talk about some of those as soon as we come back. Drive Radio, KLZ 560, The Source.
Do you have the need for speed?
If so, Extreme Auto Repair is the place for you. Extreme Auto Repair specializes in vehicle restoration and performance enhancements that'll get you where you need to go with speed and style. With their knowledgeable staff and professional service, they can answer any questions you have to get your vehicle running the way you've always dreamed it could. Extreme Auto Repair in Parker. Give your vehicle the attention it deserves. Mention this ad to receive $25 off any service or repair at Extreme Auto Repair in Parker.
Ever try to buy an air filter and get lost in catalogs and vehicle descriptions? Well, K&N, the inventor of reusable cotton filters, has got the answer to the mess. Just visit knfilters.com and enter your vehicle identification number off your dashboard or car registration, and K&N will show you the filter that fits your car. It's never been easier to buy a K&N, the filter that helps your car run better.
Ah, summer. A time of fun, sun, high temperatures, and the ultimate family road trip. Before embarking on the ultimate family adventure, bring your vehicle over to John's 4x4 Center on Arapahoe in Boulder for a little TLC. Our summer maintenance inspection includes pressure testing your air conditioning system, checking your coolant levels and tire pressure, testing your battery, inspecting your hoses and belts for cracks, cuts, and bulges, testing your transmission, power steering, and brake fluids. Having your vehicle inspected before a long road trip can keep you on the road, not stuck beside it during your vacation. John's 4x4 is under new ownership as of January 2014. Stop by and see what's new. Located on Arapahoe Road, just east of 63rd, behind Carpet 1, we are open to serve you Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. with shuttle service and after-hours drop. Give us a call at 303-449-2640. Follow us on Facebook or check us out at johns4x4.com.
Know-how! They have names like Joe, Bob, or Uncle Ryan. But to you, they're moochers. They borrow your tools and promise to return them someday. But someday isn't a day. Tell them they can get their own 7-piece ratcheting gear wrench set at Napa for $29.99, which you'll borrow and return someday. Conquer the job. That's Napa Know-how. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 6/30/14.
24 seconds. I timed it. It took me just 24 seconds to find a AAA certified master mechanic who offers the best peace of mind warranty in the state. A 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every repair. At ColoradoSelect.org, I search my city and boom, I'm done. Colorado Select Auto Care puts their member shops through a rigorous set of requirements, so I know no matter which shop I choose, I'll get the best auto repair service possible. That's 24 seconds well spent. ColoradoSelect.org.
All right. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We appreciate it very much. And, yeah, a couple of sponsors that we've got that are new to the show. And, of course, you can find all of our sponsors at drive-radio.com. Of course, Isaac Bouchard, he's our broker. Isaac's out racing here these last few weekends. We'll get him on air with us here in the near future. If you need anything on a new, used car, advice on what to do, what to buy, how to sell, lease, etc., he's our guy, smartest guy I know in the industry on that side of the fence. You can call him at 303-475-1462. Also new is Quick Tread. They're one of our tire, basically they are our tire seller, distributor. A lot of us in the group are actually using him for our tires. It does a great job.
Yeah.
They really do a fantastic job. They'll come right to your office or home and do tires for you. Very competitive. Quick Tread, 720-557-1380. Paul Leuenberg with American National Insurance. Chrome is the name of his kind of division he started, mainly because he actually works on a lot of the older specialty vehicles. Great insurance, great policies. I can't go on and on about all of the savings you'll get from them, but the best thing to do is just call him for a quote, figure out if he can save you money. He'll do business, home, auto, you name it. Paul Leuenberger, 303-619-9891. And then another brand new sponsor. If you need a locksmith, somebody to help you with opening a door, your commercial business, your home, anything at all, Pop and Lock is the name of the company. It's on our website. Go there, look at it. Phone number is there. They're mobile. They'll go up and down the entire Front Range. All of you guys that have businesses, homes, etc., they can do it all. And when it comes to the reprogramming of some of the newer, pass lock systems, key fobs, etc., they spent about $25,000 here recently buying all the equipment they need to make sure that they can do all of that. So yes, they're up to date. They can handle all of that. Great company. Enjoy those guys a lot. Use them, and they'll take care of you. So let's go to the phones. Jose is up next. Jose, welcome. What's going on today?
Yeah, I was calling to ask you about these new diesel engines coming out in these smaller 1500s. I want to get your take on all that.
I like them. I actually got a chance to drive the EcoDiesel in the Dodge here recently, and in the truck itself because of a previous driver, a previous press driver, not because of the truck's fault. The previous press driver had some issues where he didn't quite know what to do with the DEF tank, and I'm not sure why he was even dinking with it. But anyways, the DEF tank got contaminated. They had to pull it from the loan. I'm going to get that truck back this week, and I'll finish out a full review on it. But the day or so that I already had with it, I really enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to having it back where I can do a full review. But right now, Jose, so far so good. I'm very impressed. That truck had great power, good fuel economy. I've heard folks owning those getting in the mid to upper 20s on a regular routine basis, which is huge for those. That's huge because even a Ford EcoBoost won't do better than about 18, 19. The new Chevys, believe it or not, will actually do better than the EcoBoost diesels will with the 5.3. We own one of those trucks personally, and I can get anywhere from 20 to 22 miles to the gallon on the road with that 5.3 in the Chevy.
Okay.
So,
okay.
But the diesels I think are going to do better.
Probably got more power. And
the diesel has more torque. Yeah.
And you will post.
I will. I will have a full YouTube video on it. A full, I'll give a synopsis on the website, and then I'll also talk about it here. So yeah, that's a great truck, and I'm personally just interested because I'm a truck guy. I'm really interested in that vehicle and how it works.
Okay.
Okay, Jose. So stay tuned. I'll have a full review on that here in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, sure.
All right, thanks a lot, Jose. Appreciate you calling in. 303-477-5600 is our number. And yeah, that's something else. We get people that call in and ask about, new cars and what to buy and all that. And we have full reviews. Now we're doing even video, so we've got full video, full written. I do some audio stuff here, of course, that we podcast, but all different makes, models of vehicles. They're all on our website, drive-radio.com, and literally anything from the truck we just talked about, I'm going to have this particular week. I'll also have the new Duramax diesel in the full brand new, the 3500 HD, which is their newly remade to match the half tons, but has all of the heavy diesel, running gear underneath it. That truck I'm really looking forward to driving this week. I've also got right now, just to throw a plug in there, and I will, I'll throw a sales plug in here for Toyota, the new Land Cruiser. This is the last year for building it. Mm-hmm. This is the last loan in Denver even for this particular vehicle. So once this thing's gone, you will not buy another new modern Land Cruiser after that. They're going to quit making them. The runs are already starting to end as we speak. And by the way, that's a great vehicle. It's Toyota's version of the Jeep, made a little differently, has some more standard features on it than, I shouldn't say standard features. It's just a different vehicle than a Jeep.
Yeah.
It matches up closely with what Jeep's doing. It's just a different vehicle. You'd have to go drive it, hop in one. It looks unique. It's not the Jeep look. All Toyota, works extremely well. I'll give you a full review on that. It's been several years since I drove one of those. We'll have a full review on that here in the next week or so.
SUV.
Exactly. And fully off-road capable, great vehicle. So, yeah, if you want to buy a Toyota Land Cruiser, FJ40, I should say, this is your chance because they're going to stop making them after this year. So real quick, but before we go to the next break and the news, let's go to Bill in Lakewood. Bill, what's going on?
Yeah, except they're overpriced.
Well, yeah, that's all in the eye of the beholder. Some people, my dad being one of them, will tell you every new vehicle is overpriced. So yeah, it comes down to the guy buying it.
Well, you could agree. Anyway, hey, first question. I got two questions. The first one is on a lease turn-in. If you want to purchase the car,
okay.
You know how they have that price that you can pay for it?
Yes.
Is that the price or is that negotiable?
You know what? That's a better question for Isaac. I think that depends on the leasing company that you've bought it from and what your original paperwork says. But what I'm going to tell you, that's probably, if you want to either call or email Isaac, which all that information is on our website, he could answer that directly, and I would hate to say something wrong because he'd be the guy to know. All right, Bill?
Okay, anyway, okay. Hey, now my son's also has an 89 Bronco.
Okay.
I think he wasted the money and had Grease Monkey do the flush.
Okay.
Because we took the drain out to flush it and refill it up again, and it dribbled out, and that was it. And it was just a rust color.
So was the radiator empty or plugged?
Well, yeah, I can't see no liquid at this point, but he had the thermostat changed, and the guy that did it said to flush it out a couple of times. But when we pulled the plug on the radiator, nothing came out. It just dribbled.
Yeah, it could be.
And I poured some more water in it, and it's not coming through it.
Could be that petcock's just plugged up.
Could be plugged. Yeah,
it's just a plug.
It could be that the radiator itself down in that area is just plugged up too. Yeah. And by the way, when you flush one correctly, that's one of the first things you do is clean that area out to make sure that it's functioning properly.
Well, his buddy that he bought the car from, I guess they dumped a bunch of that radiator sealant in there.
That's your answer then.
Therein lies the problem.
Therein lies the problem. Exactly. That's what's causing it.
The only way I've ever seen to get those
down there and just kind of flush it.
Well, I think
the only way I've ever seen to get them clean is to use our power flush.
That's right.
And force them clean.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. So, Bill, you're going to have to take that thing into one of our Colorado Select facilities that has the Gates flush tool and actually have a professional power flush done on that to get that out.
He's going to buy my truck when I go buy the new Silverado.
There you go. Which, by the way, is a great truck. I love that truck. It works great.
Except for the price tag.
Except for the price tag, yeah. But again, it's all, and I'm with you. I mean, I'm a fleet guy, so listen, I look at trucks and prices on an ongoing basis, and they are all expensive. None of them are getting any cheaper. But here's what I'm going to tell you. This is just food for thought for everybody listening. My prediction is with the new CAFE ratings, the stuff the White House has done with that, etc., truck prices are going to jump substantially in the next few years. So if you're in the market for a truck, you better buy it now because they're going to do nothing but get a lot more expensive as time goes by.
Wait until your natural gas bill goes up.
Yeah, that's in all these topics, by the way, Bill, Rush to Reason, every day at 2. That's the stuff I talk about, and yeah, that is the stuff that affects our pocketbook daily.
I'm from Excel, so.
Yep, yeah. And I'd love to believe, honestly, I'd love to have some guys like you send me some feedback and some tips, etc. on that, so by all means, send it right to me. That's on the other program I do each day.
The natural gas is interesting because it took an act of God to switch the gas.
Yep.
From the coal,
Yep, exactly. No, you're exactly right. Hey, Bill, we got to run. We got a break coming up, hard break. I can't do anything about it, so we're going to take a news break. Don't go away. Dave in Thornton, you've got a diesel question. Stay with us. Jerry, also in Denver, you've got a ball joint question. You guys hang with us. One line open is all. 303-477-5600. I'll be right back right after these messages. Don't go away. John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, The Source.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for their highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
The left is trying to spin this up as some effort to swift vote Bergdahl. People died going after this man. Is this an intentional effort by the Obama administration to distract us away from the Benghazi investigation, from the VA scandal, from the struggling economy, to keep us running over here and then flashing a bright light over there to distract us again?
Wake up with Randy Corcoran, mornings at 5 on KLZ 560, The Source.
This is the legendary KLZ, AM 560, KLZ HD Denver, and online streaming at 560thesource.com.
Since 1922.
KLZ Denver.
This is the Blaze Radio News. I'm Brad James. It's a scandal within the scandal. Zero credibility is left at the IRS, as it has lost thousands of emails that are vital to the ongoing investigation.
What makes this so very, I think, disheartening to the American people? The IRS is the only federal agency that operates out of the bounds of the normal constitutional process.
Former Republican Governor Mike Huckabee on Fox and Friends.
They can investigate you, they can charge you, they can punish you, all one-stop shopping. There's no check and balance with the IRS. No other federal agency can do that. The FBI can investigate you, they can even file charges, but then you go to the judicial system. You're not going to be all in that one shop where everything happens from soup to nuts. And that's one reason that the power of the IRS is out of control. One of the reasons I've been a strong fair tax proponent. Get rid of the IRS. It's got to go. This is an outrage to every American citizen.
This is news on the Blaze Radio Network.
Everyone is making the switch to the Blaze to make it their source for the truth. Why not make it your source for the truth? Make theblaze.com your homepage for news that the other outlets won't even touch. Subscribe to The Blaze TV at theblaze.com/TV or on Dish Network and get access to original programming like For the Record, the show that exposes what's really going on that the government doesn't want you to know. And Real News, the daily conversation on the topics of the day that matter most. Check out the Blaze Radio Network at theblaze.com/radio with original shows like Buck Sexton, The Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson, Pat and Stu, and Jay Severin. Or, if you need something to hold in your hands, subscribe to the Blaze magazine. So basically, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. This is the Blaze. Truth lives here. So just to recap, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. Find out all the ways at theblaze.com.
The Blaze Radio News on KLZ 560 The Source.
Wake up with Randy Corcoran, Monday morning at 5 on legendary KLZ 560, The Source.
Being an expert on general automotive knowledge, what would the correct ignition timing be on a 1955 Bel Air Chevrolet with a 327 cubic inch engine and a 4-barrel carburetor?
It's a trick question.
What's this?
A Chevy didn't make a 327 in 55. The 327 didn't come out till 62. And it wasn't offered in the Bel Air with a 4-barrel carb till 64. However, in 1964, the correct ignition timing will be 4 degrees before top dead center.
Get ready for another hour of Drive Radio, brought to you by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Got a question for the experts? Then give them a call, 303-477-5600. Now it's time to pop the hood and get our hands dirty. Drive Radio on KLZ 560 The Source.
All right, Hour 2, Drive Radio. I'm your host, John Rush, along with Dorsey Johnson. Dorsey's with Arvada West over in Arvada. And I should make a correction. I was talking earlier in that last hour about the Land Cruiser, can't buy it anymore. That's all true, but I need to make sure I say the right name. It's actually now called an FJ. We used to call them FJ40s, and us old-timers, we get used to calling them Land Cruisers and everything else. But really, my son corrected me. It's an FJ. So that will be the last year that these are made. So if you want to buy one, now's your chance. Go out, pick one up. And by the way, we had a couple of callers. You guys that were on air or online, call us right back. We'll get you right on air. I'll shorten up the commercials here, or the announcements, and get you right on air. 303-477-5600. You both had great questions. I'd love to get to those and answer them. So if you've got that handy, call us. We'll get you, we'll get you right on air real quick. So you call in, we'll get you taken care of. One email question real quick before we go to some of the announcements, which, by the way, Dorsey corrected me as we were taking a break there at the top of the hour. I said earlier that our event on the 5th is 3 weeks from today. I'm wrong. It's 2 weeks from today. I've got my weeks all... This new radio show and coming down here every day and all the time it's taking, it said I'm losing track of my days. So it's 2 weeks from today. We'll be out at Extreme Auto Repair, big garage sale, July 5th. And I keep forgetting July 4th is only 2 weeks away. Man, it just this summer is just zinging by. So, Dorsey, does it slow down any the older we get?
I think it goes faster.
I think so too. Just every year just zips by, year after year. So the line's open. Call us. We'd love to get you on air. 303-477-5600. But yeah, next weekend, big event out at DIY Auto Repair Shops. Free oil change day. I've announced that earlier. All of the information is on our website, drive-radio.com. Go there, find out what to do, how to register for that, etc. That's a great event for single moms, widows, etc. We'd love to help them out, and that's a great way to do that. So, question came in. 01 F350 with a 7.3 power stroke. On startup, my overdrive light flashes and it runs sluggish most of the time. After a few minutes, it's like somebody flipped a switch and turns the turbo on and everything runs good and the light is gone. A lot of times, that's after a bunch of black smoke. Somebody has told me that the injector control module might be failing. I've replaced the high-pressure oil pump. Thanks for any input. Thoughts?
Well, with that one, the first thing I'd look at is the injector and glow plug operation is run by wiring and circuitry that goes through the valve cover. I'd look at the valve cover, the
harnesses
that are built in where they connect to the gasket.
And what Dorsey's talking about is on those 7.3s, and a lot of diesels for that matter, not just the 7.3s, but the 7.3s are really prone for this. All of the wiring that runs everything Dorsey just mentioned is in the actual harness inside the valve cover itself. There's no way to service those without just taking them off, taking the covers off, I should say, putting a whole new harness in, and going that route. And that might be one of the first things you'd want to try on that. And part of what you're getting with the overdrive light flashing, etc., that's just giving you symptoms and telling you, hey, something's wrong here. Right. I'm not going to go into overdrive when that light flashes. The black smoke is another indication that you've got something not running correctly. So, Mike, that'd be one of the first things. And again, we're doing this all over air, not really looking at the vehicle, diagnosing it ourselves, driving it, etc. But that's just kind of the most common known problems that 7.3 has.
Yeah, if he has an ohm meter, you can ohms test those injectors and the glow plugs side to side without pulling the valve cover.
Exactly. So, Mike, that is something we can help you with. A lot of the guys in the Colorado Select group do some of that diesel work. Not everybody does. That is one of those things that you're going to have to call around specifically and ask if they can do that work for you. By the way, you can find any Colorado Select member shop near you, and I would encourage you to do this because there are times where that changes. That list is not static. It is dynamic, and some cases people leave and we add other shops, etc. So it's not a static list. So check that out always. ColoradoSelect.org or .com, either one takes you to the same place. Check out who's near you, who they are. Look at our sponsor page, drive-radio.com. You can also get a link there to go right to Colorado Select. Either way makes that happen. Other announcements we've got, Extreme coming up, I just talked about in 2 weeks. We've got the oil change deal going on next Saturday. We've got some other remotes that we've planned later in the year. I'll announce those as we get a little bit closer to that, but we've got some special events coming up in August. If there's something you'd like us to be at, we still have some time this summer to plan in a few more remotes. We've got some that we have typically done in the past, like the Front Range Air Show that canceled for We won't get into why politics involved in that one, because the county commissioners took the airport over and decided they don't want to do an air and car show anymore, which is really, really stupid on their part. So if you're listening to me, yeah, that was a stupid decision. One of the biggest, best car shows in the whole area, and you guys and your county commissioners shut the thing down. I have no idea why. You don't know what you're doing. You need to run that show again. So there's my 2 cents worth for that one. Huge show, one of the best ones in the whole area. There's another big show coming up, I believe, on July 14th. Most of these events I put on our website, drive-radio.com. But my point is, if you've got an event you'd like to have us at, we bring our tent, we bring the van, we bring some goodies, we broadcast live, highlight the event, give you some commercials ahead of time. If you would like us to be at an event you're putting on, which, by the way, doesn't just happen to be a car event, we can do any event at all. It can be a community event. It could be something you just want to do, want us to be at, have more advertisement value out of it. By all means, let us know. Send us an email. Get online, however you want to do that, and we will definitely see what we can do to help you promote your event and be there for you. And, yeah, we have some criteria. We don't just show up for any old event. There's some certain things that we, that we won't do. But in general, let us know what it is, and we'll do our best to try to help you out with that particular event. So, again, how to communicate with us. Lines are open. Call us. We'll get you right on air, 303-477-5600. As I said earlier, we had lines full right before the break, and as soon as I said break, everybody went away. So now that we're back, call us. We'll get you right on air, answer your questions. You can watch us on YouTube. By the way, you can go right to our website, drive-radio.com. Go right to the home page. You can see us there. Click the play button that's right there in the screen. You can also find all of our reviews, interviews, all the different things that we do as Drive Radio on our YouTube channel. YouTube.com. Just search in the search bar once you get to YouTube. One word, Drive Radio. Can't miss us. You'll see our channel there. Subscribe. Like us on Facebook. All the different medias that are out there that we are on. Please, please, please go there. Like us. All of that helps us out, and we really, really do appreciate that. So, again, I mentioned earlier we got a lot of new sponsors. Check them all out at drive-radio.com. Guys, real quick, let's take a quick break. We'll come back into our first segment. Call us. We'll get you right on air. No dumb question. In fact, some of you guys had some really great questions right before the break on diesel trucks, etc. Call us. We'll get you right on air, 303-477-5600. Matt, take us to a break. John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, The Source.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you.
You said break and they were gone.
Reliability is exactly what Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the...
Oh, I know.
Excellence in automotive repair and maintenance.
It's not my choice.
Currently offers Napa's Peace of Mind warranty, but are now also offering an extended 2-year or 24,000-mile warranty on repair work. You won't find this offer anywhere else. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com.
Watch, they'll come back 15 minutes before 1.
6272.
Know-how! You like car stuff. Napa has car stuff, like fuel stuff, brake stuff, even cleaning stuff. And the only thing better than car stuff is car stuff that's half off. So stock up on your car stuff with half off selected stuff. Conquer the job. That's Napa Know-how. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 6/30/14.
After 30 years of business, Gino's Auto Service is expanding. Hi, this is Jennifer, and my dad owns Gino's Auto Service in Littleton. What does our expansion mean for you? Savings on all our repair and maintenance services. We work on all makes and models, and your satisfaction is always guaranteed. At Gino's, we use genuine Napa parts and are AAA approved. Stop by and see the transformation at Bowles and Platte Canyon, or visit us online at ginosautoservice.com. That's ginosautoservice.com.
Your car performs better when things are simple. And it's easy to see how the maze of plumbing under the hood can slow it down. A K&N AirTake system replaces the maze with a single custom engineered tube. The result? A guaranteed increase in horsepower. A dramatic increase you can actually feel. Visit K&N website to look up the extra horsepower available for your vehicle. K&N, an American manufacturer since 1969.
All right, thanks for tuning in. Great music. Appreciate Matt, our engineer. working with us. And by the way, this week, as I said earlier, Rush to Reason, I'm on the air every day, 2 to 3 p.m. Tune in, listen to us if you can. All the programming here on KLZ. Also on Wednesday morning, Randy Corcoran's show, Wake Up from 5 to 8 a.m. I'm going to actually fill in and guest host for Randy on Wednesday morning. So that'll be a nice early morning. I'll get up bright and early, come down, do the show, throw some content at you, and have a good time. So if you listen to KLZ first thing in the morning, or if you don't, listen to me Wednesday morning, I would appreciate it. We'll have an opportunity for you to call in, talk about all the different things that are going on, and hopefully on Wednesday have kind of a recap of what happens in the primaries, which, by the way, if you're a Republican, you've got to vote in the primaries. It's your duty to do that. Go out, vote, get that handled before Tuesday. So a lot of you have mail-in ballots, etc. That stuff's all going on right now, but make sure you vote. And that's one of those things I look at as citizens as one of our civic duties. Go out, vote, have a voice. That's the way this country works. So, again, love to hear from you. 303-477-5600. Lines are open. Call us. We'll get you right on air. Email us a question, john@drive-radio.com. Either one of those would work great. And we love to chat with you. So let's keep talking about batteries. What else you want to add to what we were talking about earlier? We talked about pricing, batteries, you get what you pay for, etc. What do we do?
Yeah, the batteries are usually rated on how many months of warranty you get, which a lot of times is kind of a made-up figure. It's the way I look at it. Some battery lines, yes, you can kind of rely on how many months the warranty is as to about how many months it's going to last.
Right, but not always.
Some of them are way overrated.
Got it. And that's what's hard for you all as listeners to know when it comes to what battery do I really go out and buy, because unless you're in the industry, you look at patterns, you look at battery failures, etc., it's hard to know from the consumer side of the fence what's the better battery to buy, because the marketing side of the fence just says, hey, buy me because of X. It really doesn't tell you everything you need to know about that battery and what its real lifespan is going to be like.
Right.
Correct?
Right.
And again, that's hard to know. That's where we come into play. If you've got a question on batteries, don't know what to buy, don't know where you're at with your current battery, you don't know what your lifespan's like, etc., call us, drop by, visit one of our Colorado Select facilities, and they can share all that stuff with you. Some of the things we talked about on Thursday's show also, though, is just how to maintain your current battery, keep that lasting longer. Some of you are do-it-yourselfers, and you can do some of this stuff yourself. But one of the things that we really, kind of try to stress, if you would, is keeping the battery clean, making sure you're servicing it properly. We talked in depth on Thursday, and this is a really deep subject that we could spend a lot of time on, and that's battery cables. Mm-hmm. It's one thing to have a really great battery, have it doing everything you need to do, and you put that into a vehicle that has weak cables or corroded cables, and guess what? You're right back where you started from.
Right.
Explain, we talked about this some on Thursday, Dorsey, but explain what happens when, battery starts to corrode, it can wick down the cable. Explain how that works, why it works, and what people can do to try to eliminate some of that.
Most of the corrosion is caused by vapors that come out of the batteries. A lot of batteries will get cracks around the posts, and especially the positive post. And the vapor will come up from out of there.
Okay.
And that will just automatically corrode that cable end, and the corrosion will travel inside the cable.
Yeah, and quick, I'm going to stop Dorsey for a second. People would say, well, gosh, I don't understand. How does it travel? How does the corrosion, first of all, get into the cable and then travel down it? Well, we explained this on Thursday. Think of a candle wick, especially candle wick that's in wet candle wax, which they make candles both ways. You guys have seen those. So you think of something wicking. For example, if you took a piece of rope, even, doesn't have to be anything fancy, take some cotton rope, put it in a bucket of water, drip the rope over the edge, guess what? Over time, that water comes up through, even if it's dry on the end that's out of the bucket, you go look at it the next morning, and guess what? It'll have water dripping out of the end of the rope, right?
Right.
That's wicking. The same thing happens inside of your battery cables. No, they're not cotton. No, it's not water. But that same principle applies to battery cables. And when you start getting corrosion at the end of the battery, it will just start wicking down that cable. And pretty soon you'll have, I've seen cables where they're corroded all the way to the starter.
Yeah, they'll swell up.
Yep.
Cable will be bigger than it should be.
And here's the trick to this. You don't always see it. It's not always visible to the naked eye. Somebody called in Thursday on our show on Haystack Help and said, well, John, how do we know that, how do I know my cable's actually got some corrosion inside? Well, there's a couple of ways you can do that. Dorsey's point was you can cut the cable open. You do that, you're going to ruin the cable because you've now cut the casing. Mm-hmm. An easy way is just if you can get to the cable where it's somewhat flexible and you can actually move it around, you can a lot of times listen and feel the cable. If it's nice and pliable and smooth, easy to move around, bend around, typically that cable's okay.
Right.
If you hear it cracking, making noise, popping, it's stiff, etc., chances are it's got some corrosion internal into the cable.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're set up like we are, you can do a voltage drop. See if the voltage is really down from a resistance, which would be more.
Because that tells you there's more corrosion. Because that corrosion, and really that's ultimately what Dorsey just said is the reason why a lot of times you'll have a really good solid battery. A person goes to start the car and it won't start. They jump start it, still won't start, and at the end of the day, it ends up being that it's either got a bad ground, a connection problem, or the cable itself has got a problem, and there's just too much resistance in it from all the corrosion. So, it's important while you're doing these battery services, etc., to make sure you're watching the cables. And this is the number one reason why it's important to make sure your battery does not have fuzzies growing all over it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to be aware of that. Make sure that that's not happening. And take precautions to make sure you're keeping the battery serviced properly, because if so, it just makes everything last that much longer. Because cables on some cars, Dorsey, you know this better than I, give us a roundabout number on what some cables cost for some cars, because it'll scare some people.
Well, some of them are easily $200-300
for a battery cable.
Yeah.
Because it's not a cable, it's a harness.
A harness.
That's right.
Yeah.
And even simple cables, and this is even going to sound interesting to some, even simple cables can be $30 to $45,
right?
Which is half the price of a battery almost. Now, some batteries are getting up to $150, $160, which, by the way, Dorsey talked about this on Thursday, too. Battery prices aren't dropping.
Continually going up.
They're lead inside, acid, the plastics, which come from oil. There's nothing that's going to make a battery price drop. It's like everything else. Inflation is there, even though the government tells us there's not any inflation. There is, because we see it. We see it in the oil products. We see it in batteries. We see it in just hard components, hard parts. You know, on our end of things, you look at what an oil filter and an oil change, oil and oil filter and make an oil change costs us today versus what it was 3 years ago, and it's substantially higher.
Mm-hmm.
Point being, it's important to make sure you keep this stuff up, keep it maintained. There are different types of batteries, by the way. We talked earlier about the new product that we're going to have out here very soon called Thermoil, which is a product you can actually add to the battery to make the battery itself last longer. It keeps it from venting, keeps the acid down, etc. And for some of you guys that are driving, RVs, you've got boats, you've got campers, you've got other things, one thing I learned, and I forgot about this, I knew this from the past, but I forgot about it. Some of you that have dual batteries in a camper, for example, and you're running 2 12-volt batteries. You actually would save money, have a longer lasting battery, and have more life out of it if you use 2 6-volt batteries joined together versus 2 12-volt batteries. 2 6-volt batteries in series makes 12 volts,
right,
but will last twice as long as the 2 12-volt batteries will. Explain why that is, Doris.
Well, you'll get more reserve capacity out of them.
Mainly because the 6-volt batteries, believe it or not, are built heavier than the 12 volts are.
They're basically built for golf cart applications and things like that, and
they're meant to recharge multiple times.
Yeah, you run them completely dead, recharged. They're up to that job.
So some of you guys that have dual batteries in a boat, and on a boat it's not just starting the engine, it's running a lot of the other equipment that's on the boat itself. It's running some cabin lights and also water pumps and things along those lines, bilge pumps, etc. In those cases, 2 6-volt batteries would be better than 2 12-volt batteries. So that's one tip. Guys with campers, same situation. Now, if you've only got the space for one battery, it's tough to, you have to have 2 6-volt batteries to make 12.
Right.
4 6-volt batteries makes 24, and on we go. So that's how you do the math. So yeah, if you don't have room for 2, then you've got to go to a heavy-duty deep cell or deep cycle battery for those particular applications. One thing we talked about too, Dorsey, for a few minutes on Thursday, and I think it'd be interesting for folks here to hear, is the AGM batteries, which is a new technology. It's new to the market. It's been around for a while. We've known about it, but they're really starting to pick up the pace even on some new cars that come with them. What is an AGM battery? What does it stand for? We've got a few minutes before our next break to talk about that.
Well, AGM is absorbed glass mat. They have a fiberglass mesh matting material inside of them that's soaked in battery acid and put inside the battery so that you're not putting a wet acid right into the cell.
Got it.
It vaporizes less. They specifically like them in cars that have the battery under the rear seat or in the trunk. So you're not going to get any vapor.
There's less venting, less smell, less problems of explosion.
They usually have a vent tube that goes down through the floor and outside, something like that.
So it just makes everything cleaner, neater, last longer, less corrosion, etc.
Another example of your AGM battery is your Optimas.
Got it.
They're an AGM battery.
Yeah, basically an Optima, think of it as having 6 dry, they're not dry cell. Think of it as having 6 big, huge D-cell type batteries in a series.
Right.
All, that's why they have kind of that rounded look, as each one is its own cell.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it that way. That kind of explains what that Optima battery actually is and how it works.
Yeah, and they still vent. They have a pressure forced cylinder in each cell.
Got it.
When the pressure gets to, say, 10 pounds per square inch, it'll open and vent.
Got it. Got it. All right. So, guys, with that, we've got lines open. We're going to take a quick break. Call us. We'll get Larry to gear up. And, by the way, Larry, we checked phones. It's what's weird is those last 2 callers just went off air all of a sudden, and now the phones. So, okay, so phones are working. Call us. We'll get you right on air. We wanted to make sure we didn't have any hiccups because it's unusual for us this time of the day to go a full segment without any call. So maybe you just like hearing Dorsey and I talk, but we want to hear from you. Call us, whatever you want to talk about, you name it, we'll discuss it. Anything you want to add, talk about, questions, disagreements, you name it, we'll talk about it. 303-477-5600. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. We'd love to hear from you. If you don't call us, we're going to keep chatting away. So we've got some other topics we'll cover regardless, but we want to hear from you. What are your questions? Tell us what they are. We'll get them answered for you. John Rush, Dorsey Johnson, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, The Source.
Do you know how many computers your vehicle has? At Arvada West Auto and Truck, we can tell how many there are. If your vehicle is a 1996 or newer, it may have multiple computers. Did you know that car computers need updating just like home or office computers? Arvada West is equipped to update most all vehicle computers. The process usually takes less than an hour and can help your vehicle perform efficiently. From a keyless entry to fuel strategies, this simple procedure can help prevent breakdowns and improve your performance. Call Arvada West Auto and Truck, 303-422-1065. Visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com or stop by 11752 West 64th Avenue, where every question is important.
Have you ever wished there was a place you could take your car, put it on a lift, and work on it yourself? My name is Craig Wallace, owner of DIY Auto Repair Shops. We have the lift, the tools, and the expertise. We offer a multi-tier program that allows you to do it yourself, technically assisted, or we can fix it for you. Check us out online at DIYAutoRepairShops.com or give us a call at 303-429-4000. Again, that's 303-429-4000. Let us know you heard about DIY on Drive Radio, and you'll receive 50% off your first DIY hour. We look forward to helping you succeed repairing and maintaining your car.
Having transmission problems? Stop by Larry's Automotive today. We're your only Colorado Select Auto Care in North Denver that also specializes in automatic and manual transmissions. We're a family-owned small business taking care of your family-owned fleet of cars, trucks, and SUVs since 1994. We specialize in transmission and drivetrain problems and offer a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. We're also an ATRA member. Call us at 303-427-2108 for an appointment or find us on the web at coloradoselect.com. Larry's Automotive, a proud member of Colorado Select Auto Care.
A 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every auto repair says so much more than, if it's not right, we'll try to fix it again. A 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty tells me that this is a master mechanic who's confident, who knows what they're doing. I mean, nobody offers a warranty like that, right? Colorado Select Auto Care Centers do, and only the members of Colorado Select offer a warranty this good. Find a mechanic who's a member of Colorado Select Auto Care at coloradoselect.org.
All right, thanks for listening. We do have a caller back. In fact, Jerry was with us right before the top of the hour, so we'll get to him in just a second. When I come back after Jerry, one important thing we want to talk about on batteries that we talked about Thursday night, Larry just reminded me of, is battery ends. So cable ends. We'll talk about that in just a second. Jerry, what's going on today? Hello, Jerry.
Yeah, this is Jerry.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. What can we help you with, Jerry?
I got a question about ball joints. First, let me tell you that the only thing I'm interested in the car is from getting from point A to point B. I'm not interested in comfort or anything like that.
Got it.
Want to run.
Got it, mate. No, and you are like a lot of other people out there, so fully understand where you're coming from.
The ball joints, I was told by this mechanic that they were loose and that I'm risking, I don't know, the wheels collapsing inward or something like that.
Well, and stop there for just a second. That's probably something we should explain to folks, because ball joints are a very integral part of the front end. What the ball joint does is it attaches what we call the knuckle, which is what you actually see the wheel bearing and the studs that the wheel itself attaches to. That whole componentry has to be able to turn to make the steering itself turn, and how that's all connected to the components that it's mounted to is with what we call a ball joint. And yes, over time, those things can wear, and if they get so loose, sometimes you'll see a vehicle on the side of the road where the wheel is tucked all the way up into the wheel housing itself. When you see that, that's typically a car that a ball joint has totally failed on.
Yeah, and so, that was, he was trying to tell me, I was going to die and instill all this fear in me so that I would pay him whatever, $500. And I went somewhere else, and they also kind of noticed they were a little loose. And but again, I know they try to, they just try to, they're out to make money, so they try to, scare you to death. And I just wanted to let you know, I got that diagnosis 7 years ago, and I haven't done anything to my car since then, and nothing has happened.
Yeah, and here's the deal. And first of all, what are you driving? Because some vehicles are more prone for, catastrophic failure than others. What are you driving?
2001 Taurus SES.
So that's got independent suspension. And by the way, here's one thing I'm going to just add. And some shops may get mad at me for saying this, but I'm not sure I've ever seen anybody die from a ball joint failure. Now, can it cause significant other damage that you will then have to pay for if you have a ball joint that completely fails? The answer is yes.
Worn out tires.
It does. It can wear tires. It can cause other issues. And there are proper ways to inspect ball joints and improper ways to inspect ball joints. And what I have seen, even what I would call veteran technicians, when they go to look at a front end, I have seen even veteran technicians inspect ball joints the improper way. There is a right way to check a ball joint, and there is a wrong way to check a ball joint. So here's the other thing too, Jerry. When you say a little loose, I mean, the reality is, a ball joint can have some play in it and still be within specs and be okay. And if that was the case 7 years ago, that's why you haven't had any real issues up to this point. I will say this, though, and I'll stand by this. Ball joints and front-end components should be looked at on an annual basis no matter what car you're driving.
All right, I appreciate it.
So that way you know exactly where you're at, what's going on, how much wear you've got left, how much time you've got left before you actually have to fix them, etc. But, yeah, that's the whole story. And, by the way, great question, Jerry, great comments, and I appreciate you letting us know that.
Thank you very much.
You betcha. Take care. Yeah, and Jerry brings up a great point. Not always, when somebody has looked at something, and by the way, to Jerry's point, change my train of thought there for just a second. In Jerry's point, if you ever have a doubt about the diagnosis that you're getting, it's no different than when you go to the doctor. If you're unsure of the diagnosis and you're thinking, I'm just not sure I'm comfortable with that, great. Go get a second opinion. There is not just one shop out there to fix your car.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Doris?
Oh, yeah.
Go get a second opinion. If you don't like the opinion that you're hearing, go get a second opinion. It doesn't cost you anything. If anything, okay, let's say you even have to pay a small inspection fee. It's like going to the doctor and paying your copay 2 times. Mm-hmm. That's a small price to pay to get a second opinion to know you're on the right track with whatever that diagnosis is. And if the second guy says, yep, yeah, those guys are right on the money, they're 100% correct, great, go back and get it fixed. Easy answer. If, on the other hand, they say, yeah, you know, in Jerry's case, yeah, you know, I don't know, they really aren't that bad, these things will last, you know, it's not really a big deal. And here's the other thing. Guys out there listening, Jerry, you're listening. Not every technician out there is out to steal your money either. Some of them just flat out make an honest mistake.
Mm-hmm.
They may have looked at it, thought, you know what, if this were mine, I'd replace it, so on and so forth. Yeah, it may have not been anything where they're trying to be dishonest. In their mind, they may think, hey, if you don't replace this, you're going to go down the road and have a problem. One thing to remember also, and this is also for Jerry that's listening, every shop out there, once they touch your vehicle, has liability. Back to, I think it was Robert was talking a while back about, you know, working on cars, talking about things, the liability, etc. We as shop owners have a lot more risk in today's world than we had even 10 years ago. Why? Just go look at the billboards up and down I-25 with all of the attorneys that will go out there and sue you for anything possible.
All right.
That's why, as shop owners, every single good shop you go to should be performing an entire bumper-to-bumper inspection on your vehicle, because once you turn the keys over to that technician, to that shop owner, that responsibility is now theirs to let you know if there's any known problems, especially safety-related, on your vehicle. Right, Dorsey?
Yep.
What I mean by that is, car comes in and the ball joints are severely bad, to the point where they may cause an accident on down the road. And that shop does nothing to notify you that there's a problem there. The next, if in fact there is an accident, the next thing that's going to happen is a lawyer is going to be involved. That shop owner is now going to have some sort of inquiry with the insurance company or a subpoena or whatever the case may be, and they're now going to have to defend themselves as to why they didn't fully inspect that vehicle and let you know that the ball joints were getting worn out.
Yeah.
So that's why in some cases you're getting more details back when you drop your car off for just a normal routine service. You're getting more of that back because of the liability issue that's involved in it than what used to be there. So in a lot of cases, it's not the shop owner trying to get into your pocket. It's the shop owner trying to be really good about his business and make sure he doesn't lose it to some stinking lawyer out there that's going to take it from him because he didn't do something that, you know, years ago we would have never had to have worried about.
Right.
That's what's happened. That's the difference today versus where we were 10, 15, 20 years ago. So remember that when you go in. It's not always that the shop owner's trying to get to you. In some cases, he or she may have trained their people to really make sure they're being thorough to make sure they don't have an issue. Because if it's on the paperwork, vehicle needs ball joints, customers declined it, you sign here, at that point, it's your baby. Got it? Does that all make sense? Am I, guys on the other side of the glass, am I making sense? Is that the difference in today's world versus where we were beforehand? So, Jerry, you bring up a great point. I'm glad you called in. That's a great way to look at it. And, yes, there's a lot of people out there that are just looking to go from point A to point B, don't care about the comfort, etc. But all of you that are one of those, just keep this in mind. If and when you do have a breakdown and you're the guy on the side of the road and you're blocking up rush hour traffic and the police come in and they make you tow your vehicle and blah, 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 we go, you're going to have more expense than if you just would have fixed it before that happened. So just a case in point. And by the way, I see that now driving down to the station back and forth every day. I see a lot of what I just mentioned happen. And I'm going to throw something out there. I was gonna do this. I didn't quite know how to say this earlier, but this is a great segue into this, and I want to make sure I don't step on toes. So everybody out there, please take off your PC ears or shut your PC ears off. Okay? Because what I'm going to say probably isn't the most politically correct thing to say. I'm going to actually talk about this on Rush to Reason here in the near future. This is a prediction John Rush is making. This is only my view, not the views of the station, not the views of management, not the views of Colorado Select or Drive Radio itself. Just me, personally, giving you that disclaimer, telling you what I think is going to happen in the future. As this country continues, and this is coming from D.C., as the chasm between the haves and the have-nots continue to increase, rush hour traffic is going to get worse and worse as time goes by, and here's why. As people have less money and less ability to properly maintain their vehicle the way it should be, and on top of that, learn how to drive properly, the accident rate and who's going to be on the side of the road blocking traffic is going to do nothing but increase. That's John Rush's prediction. So, DC, if you guys are listening, having more have-nots than haves does nothing but increase all of what I just mentioned because of the reasons I just talked about. My theory, call me, tell me if I am right, wrong. Otherwise, I will talk about this on Rush to Reason in the near future, but it's my prediction, and it's not a slam. It's not to say anybody out there can't drive, shouldn't drive, etc. What I'm getting at is as the cost of driving increases, if you don't have the ability to properly keep up with that change, we will have more wrecks, fender benders, people broken down on the side of the road, etc., and all of that is going to do nothing but clog up rush hour traffic even more than it is today. That's my prediction. So guys, with that, let's take a quick break. We'll come back for a long segment. Call me. Tell me if you agree or disagree with that last statement. 303-477-5600. We'll be back right after these messages. Drive Radio, KLZ 560, The Source.
You can't change a tattoo from Tracy to Stacy for $20.99, and you can't change.
I agree.
With a company party for just.
I agree.
But you can change your oil right now. Get 5 quarts of Pennzoil conventional oil in a Napa Silver filter for just $20.99. Conquer the job. That's Napa know-how. General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 6/30/14.
Ah, summer. A time of fun, sun, high temperatures, and the ultimate family road trip. Before embarking on the ultimate family adventure, bring your vehicle over to Fort Collins 4x4 Center for a little TLC. Our summer maintenance inspection includes pressure testing your air conditioning system, checking your coolant levels and tire pressure, testing your battery.
Oh, I know. This is the one thing that really irritates me. I don't know why you would do this to a truck. Why would you lower a truck and make it look like a lowrider? That takes that takes the whole point of having a truck in the first place. It doesn't make any sense to me. I look at that and I'm like, that's just a perfectly good waste. I'm like, you can't even go over train tracks.
Shuttle service and after-hours drop. Give us a call at 970-482-5500. Follow us on Facebook or check us out at FortCollins4x4.com.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select...
He just shot himself in the foot. I mean... Honestly, you're going to call into a drive show and say, I just used my car from point A to point B. Okay, you just made yourself sound like...
Customer service and integrity.
Oh, yeah. Completely. My goodness.
Drive-radio or call 303-546-NAPA.
All right, I'll add another statement to what we were just talking about. All the guys were laughing at me during that last little commercial break because of my statements, but I don't think I'm too far off because here's the other thing I think is going to happen. I'll add one more thing to that caveat. Not only is the income gap going to change what I just talked about, but as younger drivers who don't really care about vehicles, and what I mean by that is they've not grown up around them, they don't have the love for them, somewhere along the line they just looked at it as Jerry does, where it's just a vehicle to get me from point A to point B, and that's great. I mean, if that's your theory, that's fine. The problem with that theory or with that thought process is typically you're one of the guys not maintaining your vehicle as well as it should be, and you're typically going to be the guy that I find on the side of the road blocking up traffic. Sorry, I'm just being blunt, but that's how I feel because I see it. When I drive by those vehicles, I can look. Okay, guys, I'm a trained technician. I've done this my whole life. When I can glance at a vehicle in a 10-second drive-by I can typically tell you from looking at it whether it's been maintained properly or not. Sorry, I'm not boasting. That's just the facts. Dorsey, do you agree?
I tend to do the same thing.
Okay, thank you. I'm not the only guy out there that does that. I just, as me as a technician, that's how I do it. Let's go to Dorothy. She's got some comments on this. Maybe, actually, she's still on the phone with Larry, so as soon as Larry's off, I will get to Dorothy, and there's another call coming in. All right, I'm going to go to Dorothy right now. Dorothy, welcome. What's going on today?
Well, I've got a question about batteries.
Great, we can help you.
I have a 60 Buick, and bought it when it was 2 years old.
What kind of Buick is it, Dorothy?
Buick LeSabre.
Oh, LeSabre. Okay, great.
The battery is under the back seat.
Okay.
Yeah.
And being an older woman and buying a car, I looked at the car, it looked fine, the paint was good, there weren't any dents and bumps.
Right.
And they opened up the hood, and yeah, there was a motor in it.
Right.
And I didn't even realize that the battery wasn't under there. I just,
okay.
It was night, I just assumed it was there, and I didn't even know until I had to have the battery replaced several years later, which not only was an expensive battery, it was under the back seat. That was an added expense.
Right, right.
But the thing that bothers me is now I've had that battery in there for quite a while, but I can't check the cables like you were saying.
No, you would have to have a trained technician check those, and the age of that vehicle, I would want to look at that right now very closely. That would also be a great candidate for the newer technology batteries that we have out now. We were just talking about the AGM batteries. They just don't have the venting and the corrosion issues that the old batteries did, especially back in 1960. You'd be a great candidate to upgrade that, check cables, make sure everything's good. And the reality is you could put a good high-quality AGM battery in that, Dorothy, and probably not mess with it for the next 5-6 years easily.
Well, I'll just be perfectly honest with you when I have to replace the battery. I'm 84 years old, so I'm not worried about having it for another 6 or 7 or 8 years.
Oh, don't sell yourself too short.
But the thing is that there is no way to check any of that stuff because of the battery being under.
No, we can still check it. You get to the right shop, and we've got several in our group that would be more than happy to help you out, Dorothy. In fact, in Centennial, you go over to Steve at Geno's. He's over in the Littleton area. He'd be more than willing to help you out. We do have equipment that we can check those batteries, check resistance on the cables.
Well, you have to take the back seat out.
We would have to take the back seat out to access all of that. But once that's done, we could easily tell what all you need to do to keep the thing, in tip-top shape.
Okay, well, that's what I didn't think there was any other way other than.
Nope, that's the only way to do it. But again, don't let that scare you. That's easy to do.
That seat comes out fairly easy.
Really easy. You just push it on the bottom of it, and it pops right out.
Yeah.
And I just I'll tell you honestly, if I had been more alert when I bought that car, for that one reason, I would not have.
Yeah, probably. But hey, it's a 1960, and you're still driving it. Does it have seat belts, by the way?
Oh yeah, it's
awesome.
It's got stuff in it I still haven't used.
That's right.
I mean, I'm a hands on the steering wheel, and I play the radio, and that's about as far as I go.
Good for you, Dorothy. Well, it sounds like you've had good luck with the car. That's awesome.
But well, it's only got 110,000 miles on it.
That's awesome.
In 10 years.
Very cool.
And I put very little into it in upkeep or no added oil or anything like that.
Good for you.
And the last couple of years or so, I drive even less than I used to since I no longer go to visit my brother up in Utah like I used to. But I think I made a good buy as far as that goes, except for that one thing.
No, I think you're fine. And again, that would not, even me personally, that would not deter me from buying a vehicle. It's just some things you have to take some added precautions to. But no, Dorothy, we can help you with that. We'd love to. Again, and I can, by the way, I'll put you back on hold. I'll let Larry get you a phone number. That way you can get a hold of Steve and he can help you with that. I'm going to put you on hold right now. But Dorothy, thanks so much for calling in, and best of luck to you, and just stay safe on the road. Let's go to Jay, who is next. Jay, welcome. What's going on today?
Jay.
How you doing, Jay?
I'm doing great. I'm actually in Washington. I just use the name Jay.
That's okay.
I have recently implemented a new plan by executive order that makes absolute sense. American people are going to love this.
Let's hear it.
It will alleviate all traffic problems. Number one, I have made it an executive order. No one is allowed to drive a car on a public street or highway within 30 days of a breakdown. And furthermore, Number 2 is with my new Obama Car Care program, nobody will have to pay for these high costs of car repairs.
Yeah, it's all going to be funded by the government, by us, the taxpayer.
It's free.
That's awesome. Yeah, well, you know, as ludicrous as Jay may sound, that's the stuff we're hearing coming out of Washington.
Have a good one.
Hey, you too, Jay. Appreciate you calling in. He brings up a great point. You know what? Some of the stuff that we're going through right now, you know, that type of thing Jay just said, tongue-in-cheek, would not surprise me if that didn't happen at some point in the future. It's just, it's ludicrous. Anyways, that's the topics we talk about on Rush to Reason. I encourage you to listen to us 2 to 3 p.m. every day here on KLZ. We talk about all sorts of stuff, and I can get to ranting and raving. I talked yesterday about the Washington Redskins the name change, etc. I would encourage you to go listen to our podcast, which you can find at our website, rushtoreason.com. We've got a call coming in right now, by the way. Lines are open, 303-477-5600. Give us a call. We'll get you right on there. We'd love to hear from you. All right, real quick before we take this next call, back to batteries. One thing we talked about on Thursday, which is very important, battery terminal ends should be outlawed unless it's an emergency.
Yeah.
They don't do anybody any good other than a quick fix to get you where you need to go. But if you have to put a battery terminal end on, you need a battery cable replacement.
Right.
Period. So if you get a shop that's telling you, hey, you need a battery cable, and it's going to be X, and you get another quote from shop B that says, yeah, you need a battery, and by the way, we'll just put a battery end on it. Throw shop B's estimate out the window because they're not fixing it properly. Right, Dorsey?
Yeah.
Battery ends don't fix the car correctly. Let's go to Maureen, who's next. Welcome to Drive Radio.
Good morning. I mean, yeah, it's still morning. Good morning,
yes, it is.
John. I've spoken with you on your other show.
Yes, you have. Thanks for calling.
You're welcome. I have a car question today, and
Sure.
that is, apples to apples, will you pay more for the same repair, apples to apples, same quality of work, will you pay more at a dealer for your make or at an independent shop?
I think even the national statistics where they have done all sorts of studies will show you that typically speaking, now this is not a blanket statement, but in general, you'll save money at an independent repair facility than you will at the dealership. Mainly because the cost of overhead at the dealership is going to be higher than it is at the independent repair facility. Now, I say that, and yet there will be times where you may go out and actually price out a repair, and in certain cases it may actually be more money from an independent than a dealer.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's the case, typically it's because the independent has learned there's a better product that may cost more than the original OEM part, thereby costing more to fix, but in the end it's a better repair, which means it's really not an apples-to-apples comparison.
I see.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I'd like to say this, and I'll have to say it to every KLZ broadcaster. I'm not allowed to use the Internet for medical reasons.
Okay.
Years ago, the U.S. government did a radiation experiment on thousands of American children to find out what heavy radiation would do to them. They found out we're at high risk of various kinds of cancer, so I can't use the TV with monitor, all that. So can you give me a phone number where I can call to get a Colorado Select shop? I'm changing shop from one in Inglewood to where I am in Aurora.
Yes, I can. Actually, you can call, and I need to make sure I update this, but it'll work for right now for what you're trying to do. Call 303-546-6272.
6272.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
And one other thing, too. In fact, my wife just sent me a text message to remind me of this, Maureen. One thing that you will find with our Colorado Select facilities, and there's some other independents now that have kind of caught up and are trying to do what we've been doing now for a very long time, but we actually, as independent repair facilities in Colorado Select, have a better warranty than that of the dealer. So
yeah, you have 3 years.
we have a 3 and 36 warranty where typically they're going to give you 12 and 12.
Right. This is yours is outstanding.
Yep. So that's, again, another difference that we're doing that they're not. So, yeah, call that number. And, by the way, you can also always call the station here. They have a full listing of all of our repair facilities, so the station can actually help you. And then, of course, you can always call us on Saturdays, and we can walk you through whatever at any point in time.
Okay, great.
Maureen, thanks for calling, and thanks for listening to both of our shows. I do appreciate that very much. Let's go to Bob, who's next. Bob, welcome.
Hi, John.
How you doing?
Listen, I'd just like to know, what do you know about the Pennzoil made with natural gas?
Awesome. I actually asked that specific question when I went out to Universal Lubricants here a few weeks ago. You were the guy that I was thinking of when I asked the question. And what I found out is that is a true product. It is made from natural gas, but here's the caveat. None of that is made here in the U.S. Believe it or not, all of that product, that oil itself and the cracking of the natural gas and the forming of liquid that they use, etc., all of that is done overseas in the Middle East. So it is a good product. You can buy it, but none of that is made in America.
I think it's done in either Dubai.
I think it's done in Dubai, yes.
Yeah.
That's correct.
There's a big refinery there that
That's right.
makes even diesel fuel out
That's
of
right.
it.
Because as you know, Pennzoil is a British-owned company, so most of their stuff is done overseas, not here in the U.S.
Okay, thank you, John.
You're very welcome, Bob. Great phone call, great question. Line's open. Call us. We'd love to chat with you. 303-477-5600, 303-477-5600. By the way, great questions. Maureen, thank you so much for listening to both of our shows. All of you guys that are calling in, we do appreciate it very much. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't come down and do this every Saturday. So we really, really do appreciate it. Lines are open. Call us. We'll get you right on air, 303-477-5600. So anything else? We got just a couple minutes, Dorsey, before the end of this segment. Anything else you want to talk about when it comes to batteries? Or have we covered everything? What did we miss? Battery cable ends are a no-no. Battery cables must check. You know, one thing we didn't even get into much on Thursday is, you know, a lot of, well, we did talk about this Thursday. In fact, you made a mention the other day of how many vehicles, or sorry, how many computers are actually on a vehicle this day and age, and why it's so important to make sure the battery is up to speed, even on low-cost vehicles. Explain that. You talked about it Thursday night, but explain that now.
Well, computers are so sensitive to voltage that you want to make sure that your voltage stays up, stays nice and even, doesn't drop very much at all below 12 volts. If you get below 12 volts, computers start to act up. Even 11.9, they'll start to act up. So you want to make sure that everything's in tip-top shape, from charging to battery to cables, basically, so you don't have any problems, any glitches with your computer systems. You can have as many as a dozen computers in a modern vehicle.
In fact, with that day, you were telling me you had one in the day, 14 computers on that vehicle.
Yukon Denali.
14 computers.
Modules.
So, guys, we cannot stress enough, some of the drivability issues that we even see come into our shops have nothing more to do than just the simple fact that there is a battery electrical problem from the source causing all sorts of other drivability issues. All right, Joe is up next. Joe, welcome to Drive Radio. What's going on today?
Hey, how do you keep these little ATV batteries in these ATVs without them going bad? About every 5 or 6 months.
Yeah, and they are. They're. I tell you what I think, and I'm going to try this myself because I've got a bunch of ATVs in my fleet for what we do. I think this Thermoil, we're going to have to figure out exactly how to do it because it's a much smaller battery than what we're typically used to using. But I think the Thermoil is going to be the answer to keeping those batteries up to speed.
Yeah, I do trickle chargers and everything, and it seems like 6 months you can get a year out of them.
And part of that is they're just not made very well. Part of it is they vent a lot more than you think they do, so you're actually losing more acid in water than probably what you know. So once we get this Thermoil and I do some testing on it, I'll come back to you with an actual, report back on how well that works and if it's actually helping me in that department.
Okay.
But other than that, Joe, I don't have a good answer because I put batteries in about half of my fleet ATVs annually.
Yeah.
And and again, I think it's partly because of the acid, the way all that works. I'm hoping this Thermoil helps a bunch. The guy that sells it claims it will. We're going to put it to the test.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
You betcha, Joe. Appreciate that very much. And I think, Matt, we're getting close enough. We've only got about a minute left. I don't think I'm going to get any callers in. So, Charlie in Littleton, you've got a Crown Vic E-Test question. Don't go away. Chris in Morrison, he's just getting lit up right now with Larry actually talking to him on the phone. One line open is all. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air before the top of the hour, 303-477-5600. And we'll keep going here. Another hour of Drive Radio coming up next. Don't go away. Listen to the Blaze Radio Network, by the way. They have great news, great source for good, everyday, common sense news that you won't hear in the mainstream media. We'll be back here on Drive Radio. John Rush, your host, KLZ 560, The Source.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for the highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
This is the legendary KLZ, AM 560, KLZ HD Denver, and online streaming at 560thesource.com. Since 1922, KLZ Denver.
This is the Blaze Radio News. I'm Brad James. The Internal Revenue Service with zero credibility now. The IRS claims thousands of emails of interest to investigators looking into suspected mistreatment of political groups by the agency have been destroyed because of computer crashes affecting 7 employees, including former IRS boss Lois Lerner.
The actual hard drive, after it was determined that it was dysfunctional and that with experts no emails could be retrieved, was recycled and destroyed in the normal process.
IRS Commissioner John Koskinen telling a committee on Capitol Hill how the hard drive of Lois Lerner conveniently was destroyed.
The power of the IRS is out of control. One of the reasons I've been a strong fair tax proponent, get rid of the IRS. It's got to go. This is an outrage to every American citizen.
That's former Republican governor and presidential candidate Mike Huckabee reacting to the IRS scandal on Fox and Friends. This is news on the Blaze Radio Network.
Everyone is making the switch to the Blaze to make it their source for the truth. Why not make it your source for the truth? Make theblaze.com your homepage for news that the other outlets won't even touch. Subscribe to The Blaze TV at theblaze.com/TV or on Dish Network and get access to original programming like For the Record, the show that exposes what's really going on that the government doesn't want you to know. And Real News, the daily conversation on the topics of the day that matter most. Check out the Blaze Radio Network at theblaze.com/radio with original shows like Buck Sexton, The Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson, Pat and Stu, and Jay Severin. Or, if you need something to hold in your hands, subscribe to the Blaze magazine. So basically, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. This is the Blaze. Truth lives here. So just to recap, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. Find out all the ways at theblaze.com.
The Blaze Radio News on KLZ 560 The Source.
Being an expert on general automotive knowledge, what would the correct ignition timing be on a 1955 Bel Air Chevrolet with a 327 cubic inch engine and a 4-barrel carburetor?
It is a trick question.
Watch this.
Because Chevy didn't make a 327 in 55. The 327 didn't come out till 62. And it wasn't offered in the Bel Air with a 4-barrel carb till 64. However, in 1964, the correct ignition timing would be 4 degrees before top dead center.
Get ready for another hour of Drive Radio, brought to you by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Got a question for the experts? Then give them a call, 303-477-5600. Now it's time to pop the hood and get our hands dirty. Drive Radio on KLZ 560 The Source.
All right, last hour, Drive Radio. And man, the time goes by fast. Fastest 3 hours of our week. And I hope it is for you guys also. Hope you enjoy what we do. Thanks again for a lot of the emails that come in. We do appreciate it. Some of you now, and I should have said this even earlier in the show, a lot of you now are starting to email me tidbits and things that I can use on my other show. There's a lot of you listeners that have crossed over that are now giving me information to talk about. You know what? I'll take all of it. I need all of it. I can take as much as I can get. This week especially, I've got my show every hour plus doing 3 hours on Wednesday morning for Randy Corcoran. I'll need as much content as I can get. So keep throwing it at me. I'll use it, look at it, and I appreciate it ever so much that you guys are listening, that you're faithful, that you listen here, and then also listen during the week. So thank you all very, very much. I do appreciate it. So, all right, let's go right to the phones. We got enough announcements out earlier in the show. Let's go to Charlie, who is up next. Charlie, welcome. What's going on today?
I have a 94 Crown Vic. My son-in-law took it for an emissions check, and they tell me there that it has an all-wheel drive, but that's news to me.
On your 94 Crown Vic?
Yeah.
That does not sound correct. No. That's not all-wheel drive. That's a rear-wheel drive only car.
That's what I thought. Do they put that thing up on rollers on all wheels?
When they do when it's all-wheel drive, but if it's a rear-wheel only, they only need the rear. They only need the two-drum unit.
That's what I thought. I just couldn't figure that one out.
Yeah, that makes no sense. They told your son that?
My son-in-law. Yeah.
You told your son-in-law that?
They actually put it in that bay where they check all wheels, I guess.
Well, if they did, the front rollers weren't turning. I can tell you that much. They may have done that, but they weren't turning.
Yeah.
They just went to extra work that they didn't need to.
No, I had that thing for pretty much 20 years.
Right.
That's the first I've ever.
No, those are great cars. Rear-wheel drive only. Great car. Keep driving it. Keep your E-test up. You'll be in great shape, Charlie.
Will do. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're fine.
Thank you.
You bet. Thanks for the phone call. We appreciate it. One line open, 303-477-5600. Chris is up next. Chris, welcome. What's going on today?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah, just switched over. What can we do for you?
Thermoil product.
Yes.
They have one called desulfator.
Correct.
What is that? Something that you can use on older car batteries?
Yes, and what it's meant to do is to keep the battery from internal sulfating. So you actually use that in combination with the thermoil itself, which keeps the battery from venting. So supposedly, and again, we're going to do some of our own testing on this. Supposedly, you can, especially an older battery, you could use the desulfator and the thermoil and extend the battery life double.
So if I've got a 5 or 6 year old battery, do I start fresh with a new one and then do this, or can I try to revive an old battery that doesn't?
It's not. Here's the deal. It's going to basically run about $20 a bottle for each product. So it's kind of going to be up to you as to whether you want to spend $40 to try to revive an old battery, or do you just start fresh and do it that way?
I kind of hate to buy a new one if the old one's not even telling me it's not giving me any indication that it's working.
And here's the deal. If it's a really good, high-quality battery, you may very well be able to do just what we're talking about and extend it another 3 or 4 years.
Okay. Different question, if I can.
And real quick, not to change subject, but Chris, I will let you and everybody else know as soon as we have distribution. That product is supposed to be coming in this coming week. Once it hits, and I have a few facilities out there, I'll put that on our website, Facebook page, and I'll talk about it next week to let everybody know we've got it.
Great.
Okay.
My other question has to do with battery chargers. I'm used to the old big transformer sized, or whatever you want to call them, battery chargers, and now they've got these new electronic smart chargers that are just a couple of inches square.
Yep.
Are they for real, or are they?
Those are great maintainers, but they will not do anything to revive a battery. So they do not have the ability to do a real deep charge, a boost to get a vehicle started. And sometimes you need a good boost to actually get the battery rejuvenated. They will not do that.
Okay.
But they will maintain and do a very good job of it.
So if I've got one of the other kind, just continue to use it.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as if it's just a standard charger, if it doesn't say it'll work on different types of batteries like Deep Cycle, Marine, AGM, just make sure you use it on just wet cell starting batteries only.
Okay, and these smart chargers one of them says it has a recondition button on it. You can do something that it takes 24 hours to work instead of
Correct.
2 hours.
And what they're trying to do is they're trying to get deeper into the plates to try to get those plates re-energized. And yeah, and in some cases they work. I think, battery chargers are just like batteries. You get what you pay for. The more money you spend, the higher quality the charger.
All right. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thanks for calling us. And yeah, we don't talk about chargers much, but that's true. It is a matter of you get what you pay for.
One of ours automatically picks the voltage and the time that it wants to recharge your battery after it analyzes.
And what does that cost, though?
That's about $1,000 battery charger.
There you go. Yeah, it's not a $29.99 battery charger. So, the case in point. Let's go to Charlie, who's up next. Charlie, welcome.
Hello.
How you doing?
Not too bad. I think I gave the gentleman a call in the wrong year, but it's an 06 PT.
Okay, 06 PT Cruiser.
Yeah, 2.4, I believe it is. Anyways, the cooling fan is not picking up those So they stop and go traffic get a little overheat.
Okay, and for everybody else listening, I know Charlie's breaking up a little bit. He's got an 06 PT Cruiser. The cooling fan is not working, and it overheats a little bit in heavy traffic. Is that all correct, Charlie?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So have you done any type of, diagnosis or anything up to this point?
I have unplugged, so it's just the fan itself.
Okay.
I'm sorry, can you hear me better?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yep, that's better.
Okay, great. I unplugged the motor itself, and hooked it up to 12 volts, and the motor's perfectly fine. So the fan turns at both. There's a high speed and low speed. I've done that. Now, I don't know how to check the relays in it. I don't know anywhere else I could possibly go. But I know the sensor's still good because it still tells me that I'm overheating.
Okay.
But it just doesn't kick the fan off.
Got it.
It may not use the same sensor for that either. Some of them do, some of them don't. The temperature sensor, it can have another one that feeds the computer and not just the gauge on the dash. And the computer controls the fan.
Okay. All right.
And really, the only way, and Charlie, anybody else out there listening, we talk about this some on the show, probably not as much as we should. The only way to really properly look at some of these electrical issues is to have a schematics, and this is even for us veteran techs. You've got to have a schematic to know exactly what's going on that particular vehicle. And what I mean by that is sometimes it can even vary with trim package options on the vehicle as to what the schematic says, and has a huge bearing on what we have to then go in and start diagnosing. So having a schematics is it is a must to try to figure that out.
Okay.
Because there's just no way to know what's controlling it without having a schematics.
And then we can cut that diagnostic short if we have the factory scan tool.
Correct.
And if we can command the computer to turn the fan on, then we know that a certain part of that system is good, and we can narrow down what we're going to look at.
But to Dorsey's point, you have to have the proper diagnostic equipment on there to be able to control that, to figure that part of it out. And not every shop has that, by the way.
Right. Okay. I was just kind of hoping maybe you guys might have a little better clue.
No quick fix on cooling fans. I mean, sometimes they're just as simple as a fuse or a relay, but if you've checked the simple things and those things are working, then you're going to have to delve into it, and it's probably a sensor or some wiring, and sometimes even the computer, if it's not commanding it on like it's supposed to, you've got other issues.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Sounds great.
All right, Charlie.
Just another quick question.
Yeah, no, go right ahead. You're fine. You bet. Go ahead.
My batteries, I got 2 yellow tops.
Okay.
And is there what's the best way of charging them in the first place?
That requires a deep cycle charger. Back to Dorsey's point a minute ago, that one does not use a regular type charger unless you're just going to do a constant trickle charge and a maintainer. That's a different deal. But if you're going to actually get in and really charge that battery because it's gotten drawn way down, you've got to charge it with the proper charger.
Okay, so just a real slow, real deep.
It's a specific charger designed for, even, believe it or not, even for that yellow, because that's an AGM deep cycle battery. That takes a different charger to charge it than what you're typically going to find on the shelf at even Napa, Walmart, etc. You've got to get into the industrial type chargers. The best thing to do on that, I would tell you to do, if it's really gotten drawn down, take that in, drop it off with somebody like a Dorsey. I'm guessing Dorsey would charge it up for you for free if you just leave it with him overnight. He'll just put his charger on it, let him charge it up for you. You're not spending a bunch of money on a battery charger.
Right.
And you're in Wheat Ridge, so you're not that far from him, is why I said that. And I think, Charlie, he's on a cell phone, and we just lost you. So, Charlie, if you're still listening, best option for you is do that.
And we'll charge it
for him. Just stop in, drop those batteries off. If you can get them out, let Dorsey charge them up for you overnight. He's got the right charger to do that. So, yes, those of you guys that have specifically yellow top Optimas, they take a different battery charger to charge them up than the atypical battery charger. That I just know for a fact, because I sold a gazillion of those batteries back when I owned, my 2 stores. Let's go to Jeff, who's next. Jeff, welcome. We have a line open, by the way, 303-477-5600. Jeff, what's going on?
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
I got a Mitsubishi Montero Sport 2001, and since I bought it, the air conditioner and the heat only work well when the RPMs are above 2,000. the air conditioning blows cold, it's great. The heat blows hot. But if I'm at a stoplight, like when it's hot out, the air will start to blow warmer, and then as soon as I get the RPMs back up to 2,000, it starts blowing cold again.
Well, and you essentially have two separate issues going on. They may be related, but typically, let's start number one with the heat side of the fence. If you only get heat out of the heater when the RPM's up, typically that shows lack of flow, low coolant, something along those lines, which in a lot of cases won't have any effect on the AC unless the coolant is so low that you've got no cooling ability up in the radiator area to actually keep the temperature down across the condenser, which then makes the AC work at a lower temperature, or at a lower air movement is what I'm trying to get at. And what you're doing when you raise the RPM up is, A, you're increasing the flow through the system with the coolant. You're also increasing the air with the fan speed increasing on the Montero. You're pulling more air across the radiator and the condenser, thereby helping the AC out. But I think you have two problems.
Yeah, do you know if the Montero of yours has two fans, if it has the stationary fan that's run by a fan clutch and an electric?
I think it does.
Okay.
I'm going to pop the hood real quick here and look.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, look and see if it's got a fan attached to the engine and then one attached to the radiator is what Dorsey's saying.
If it has an electric fan, that may not be working, when you come up to idle, you need that to keep condenser air moving.
But that would not be what's causing the heater to not heat when it's at low RPM.
It'd still be a two-issue deal.
I think you still have two separate issues. So first thing, you got the hood open now, Jeff?
Yeah.
So do you have coolant in it? Can you see anything in the overflow bottle?
There is nothing in the overflow.
Okay, so that's the first problem, which is probably why you don't have any heat at low RPMs, because it's taking things a while to cycle up. So now, next thing is, do you have a fan on the engine and one on the radiator itself?
Yes.
Okay, so then you're back to Dorsey saying that other fan, and here's the deal. If the coolant, now it could be one and the same problem. If you've got so low of coolant that the coolant temp sensors aren't able to pick up what they need to turn that secondary fan on, then you might have one and the same problem, and that would be back to why is the coolant low.
Right, and I know there's no discernible leak in the
okay.
coolant.
Any white smoke when you start up first thing in the mornings?
No.
Okay.
I do see a little bit of what looks like coolant, kind of down at the bottom, but I never see any on the driveway.
Well, and it may be enough to where it's just, it's still dripping, getting on something to where it's burning off, venting off, if you would, to where you just don't see it dripping. First things first, you got to figure out where your coolant leak is and see if that has anything to. It has something to do with at least one of the problems, and maybe both.
Okay.
So you're on your way to diagnosing it. You're halfway there. What I would do next, even before you get it diagnosed, is you need to put some coolant in it, get it topped off. You don't want to run low and overheat, so you need to do that regardless of when you get it looked at to have the leak checked.
Because when I look, the coolant is full right now, other than it's not in the overflow.
Okay, it's not in the overflow. It needs to be in the overflow, so go ahead and top that off before you go in and get it checked. That'll also give you an idea, and mark it. That'll give you an idea of how fast you're going through coolant. And and whoever looks at it needs to know that.
If my radiator cap was failing and not pressurizing properly, could that be an issue?
Probably, it could be, but probably not for the heating issue you're talking about.
Okay.
Okay. Typically not.
Usually, if a radiator cap doesn't pressurize, then it affects the thermostat too.
Right.
So should I just actually put coolant in the overflow container?
Yes, and then find out where your leak is, and then start the diagnosis process.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
All right, Jeff, appreciate the phone call. Let's take a quick break. We got one line open, 303-477-5600. When we come back, Michael in Littleton, he's got it's a handicap tech looking for work. Great question, by the way. John has an 02 Park Avenue with a 3.8-liter engine. He's got a question. And again, one line open. We'll be back right after these messages. John Rush, Dorsey Johnson, KLZ 560, The Source.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each Colorado Select member currently offers Napa's Peace of Mind warranty, but are now also offering an extended 2-year or 24,000-mile warranty on repair work. You won't find this offer anywhere else. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-6272.
Know-how! They have names like Joe, Bob, or Uncle Ryan. But to you, they're moochers. They borrow your tools and promise to return them someday. But someday isn't a day. Tell them they can get their own 7-piece ratcheting gear wrench set at Napa for $29.99, which you'll borrow in return someday. Conquer the job. That's Napa Know-how. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 6/30/14.
After 30 years of business, Gino's Auto Service is expanding. Hi, this is Jennifer, and my dad owns Gino's Auto Service in Littleton. What does our expansion mean for you? Savings on all our repair and maintenance services. We work on all makes and models, and your satisfaction is always guaranteed. At Gino's, we use genuine Napa parts and are AAA approved. Stop by and see the transformation at Bowles and Platte Canyon, or visit us online at genosautoservice.com. That's genosautoservice.com.
Ever try to buy an air filter and get lost in catalogs and vehicle descriptions? Well, K&N, the inventor of reusable cotton filters, has got the answer to the mess. Just visit knfilters.com and enter your vehicle identification number off your dashboard or car registration, and K&N will show you the filter that fits your car. It's never been easier to buy a K&N, the filter that helps your car run better.
All right, here we go. We are back. Thanks for tuning in. 303-477-5600, and we're back. Always have a good time. Enjoy the conversations that we get. John, you've been holding the longest. Let's go to you next. John, what's going on? Hello, John.
Yes.
How are you doing?
Good. Yourself?
Doing great. What can we do for you?
Well, I'll tell you what. I got a 2002 Buick Park Avenue.
Okay.
Okay, and I bought this car with 17,000 miles on it.
Alrighty.
Since then, at 60,000, I blew the number 6 rod went on me. I had to put a rebuilt engine in. And ever since I put the rebuilt engine in, my gauges and nothing works properly in the car. So my question is, do you think it's a computer chip, or what the hell's going on?
And who did the engine?
I had it done where I bought it up here in Fort Collins.
Okay, so the dealer actually did an engine. Did they find the used engine for you?
Yes, I fought them and fought them. I wanted a brand new engine put in, but no way on God's earth would anybody go for that.
They should have done a reman engine, even if there was a small difference, if you paid the difference.
Well, I tried everything. I forked out $5,200 to put a rebuild in. That was with parts and labor.
Okay.
You know, GM brags about this 3.8 liter engine. I've had nothing but problems. And every 1,000 miles, or no, 3,000, I'm burning a quart of oil too.
That's too bad, because typically, I will side with them on it. That's typically been a really good engine.
Yeah.
I don't know why. That one. I don't know why the number 6 rod went bad in the first place. That's unusual. Now, getting back to the actual, topic, which is, why do the gauges and everything not work? I would be hard pressed to believe you've got some sort of a computer programming issue. If it worked with the old engine, it should work now. You've either got something there's some incompatibility issues somewhere with sending units, something along those lines, where that unit didn't come out of an 06. And they're going to have to get back to finding the proper stuff to make things work right, because that's about the only thing I can think of as to why it wouldn't work like it should.
Either that or wiring issues.
Correct.
If there's some ground wires that didn't get tightened
something
properly,
pinched.
A pinched wire. It's awful easy to pinch some of those small wires.
Yeah, they can get pinched between the bell housing and the block. They can get pinched up against the firewall. Ground wires can get not hooked up properly, etc. So there's something there, either there's a compatibility issue, or to Dorsey's point, there's something that's just not hooked up or pinched.
Okay, I appreciate that. Yeah, you know, I've always been a GM fan, but I've had nothing but heartaches. I've gone through 2 engines now.
Well, the year that you're driving, they, as you can tell right now from the press and what's going on with the lock cylinders, et cetera, they had their issues.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, guys. I listen to your show, and it's very, very informative.
Well, thank you very much, John. We appreciate it, and keep listening. We appreciate that very much. That's what we're here for. Let's go. Line open, 303-477-5600. Michael is next. Michael, what's going on today?
I got a good question for you. My grandson is in his mid-20s.
Okay.
He is disabled. He has Asperger's, which is a form of autism.
Okay.
But he's a natural mechanic. And he's worked on cars for the last 10, 12 years.
Okay.
Now, how can he get employment in the industry?
Well, you know, and I'll be honest with you, and I think I speak a lot for not just the guys that are inside of our Colorado Select group, but really for auto shops, especially independent auto shops in general. We're always looking for great people that'll show up to work and do a good job. And the reality is, if he's got the ability to do the tasks do the tasks that are at hand, even if it's a repetitive type of a thing, typically speaking, there are a lot of shop owners out there that are looking for good help that would talk to him in a moment's notice. And really, it's just a matter of going out, making some applications, talking to some owners, figuring out where a good fit for him would be, and no different than any other job applicant. That's exactly how we would look at it.
All right, but he's actually done that, and everybody comes back and says, well, are you ASC certified? And he says, no.
Now, and again, one thing I will tell you, most of our Colorado Select facilities, I'm speaking for them because I can't speak for everybody else. The way we would look at that is we would still employ, depending upon the situation, and if there's if we have an opening, et cetera, of course. But if we have an opening, it's an employable situation, et cetera, we typically will look at that, get him on the track to getting those passed, and the pay scale has a direct effect upon experience and certifications. That's how we do it.
Okay, well,
it's not that a technician's not employable. I'll just say it right out. I'm not going to be dishonest about this.
Right.
It does have an effect on pay scale, because the more certs you have, the more studying you've done, the more training you've got, etc., the more money you're going to make, just like any other job.
Right. Well, I just try to get him into the industry somehow.
And I think you're in a great. And by the way, you're in a great place over there. Call Steve over at Geno's. Have a conversation. I don't know if he's looking for anybody or not, but he's got a lot of great contacts inside of our group. And I would start with Steve. Just call him and start there and see what happens.
Terrific. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome, Michael. Thank you so much, and best of luck to you. But yeah, we don't discriminate. I will tell you that right now. We are always looking for good, solid people. If they can do the job, we'll employ them. Right, guys?
Yeah, I've employed several that we had to help through the ASE process, and give them a timeline of what to work.
Yep,
on.
and we'll do that all day long. So we have no problems with that. 303-477-5600 is our phone number. Let's go to Edward, who is next. Edward, what's going on?
Yes, I have a RV question. It's regarding the house batteries.
Sure.
Those are deep cycles.
Okay.
I was able to get a hold of some backup batteries for a fire system. It's 12 volt, and some of them are 2 years old. Others are as old as 8.
Okay.
Every one of them have been holding 12 volts very strong.
Okay.
I looked them up online. They're $500 batteries, and they are deep cycles,
okay.
So they work. Can I use those as the house batteries?
Yes.
They certainly have greater capacity.
You can. In fact, in that new product that we were just talking about, those are probably a maintenance type battery. I'm guessing you can check the wetness of the fluid of the cells, etc., I assume. So is it a maintenance battery, I assume?
No, it's totally sealed.
They are totally sealed. Okay, that's the only downside, because over time, any battery, doesn't matter what it is, they're going to vent to a certain extent, and they will vent off acid and water both. Now, that's not a bad thing. It's just something that you'll have to remember. As time goes by and they start to deteriorate, there will be nothing you can do about it. They'll just, But if you bought them cheap enough and they'll work, I mean, all you're looking for is a good deep cycle 12-volt battery for the house side, and use them.
Yeah. Okay.
You're not going to hurt anything.
I can use all 3 of them, just put them all parallel.
Yes, don't run them in series or they add up. So yeah, just run them in. And then what I would say, and again, you're a guy we were talking about earlier in the show. As you go down the road and want to start replacing those, you'd be a great candidate for running 6-volt batteries and combining 2 to get your 12 volts and doing it that way.
Okay.
You'd actually have better luck on the house batteries doing 2 6-volt batteries as opposed to 2 12-volt batteries.
Now, when you parallel them together, whether it's 2 or however many, the feed line comes off of the same battery.
Correct.
The 12 volts. But is there a way that it somehow knows when one battery gets lower than the other, or do they all balance out and they all?
No, they don't balance out. One will just go low and not be able to do anything as far as its load capacity is concerned, and then all the load capacity comes out of the other batteries that are up to snuff. There's nothing automatic. That battery, think of it as just its own solid device sitting there. It doesn't have a brain. It doesn't know how to do anything. It doesn't know what's sitting next to it. It's just going to do whatever it can do at that moment in time, and if it starts to deteriorate, then the other two have to pick up the pace.
Okay.
It's that simple. It just becomes dead weight.
Okay. But somehow it knows to charge the multiple batteries.
Well, yeah, because the voltage coming in is still going to feed across the line of all 3 batteries. If the battery will accept the charge, it will. If not, then it doesn't, and it starts to die out, and you're running off 2 batteries then at that point.
Okay.
Think of it that way.
Yeah, as long as your charger in your RV coach sees 12 volts,
that's all that matters.
It's not going to kick on and charge the batteries.
Right.
Okay.
So you could have one battery sitting in there going down, down, down. That's why it's better to put the 2 6-volt batteries in and hook them in series.
That's right.
Okay, yeah, so run 1, 2.
That's right.
Yeah, and the other thing with RVs is in the winter when they're not used,
pull them inside.
Take the batteries out and store them.
That's right.
Or if you can't do that at all, at least try and keep it plugged in so it will charge.
That's right. But the best thing, at Dorsey's point, if it has to sit outside, which in most cases they do. Now some guys are fancy and can put them inside of a garage, etc. But if it sits outside, yank the batteries out and put them inside the garage where it's warmer.
Okay. And can you answer a diesel question?
Sure. Go ahead.
Since it's an RV, which most of them sit alongside the house for most of their life, that diesel fuel, I've seen in the parts stores, they're stable for gas, but does diesel need anything?
It does, because it can collect algae over time, and it's more prone to going bad actually than the gas is, and that algae can then grow up and get into the filters, etc. So yes, it's important to keep diesel fuel fresh, and or keep an additive in it that will keep that algae from growing. And there is a ton of product on the market that will do that. Napa sells it. There's a Stanadyne product. I don't want to just force you into any one product because there's a lot out there, and all of it is good product. 911 makes a good product. There's multiple decent products on the market that do what I'm saying.
Okay, and that won't hurt a 2-stroke diesel?
No, diesel fuel is diesel fuel.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all the same as far as that goes.
All right.
And you're treating the fuel, not anything in the engine at that point.
Right. Okay. Well, I do run it once a month. And
that's all right. You're not going to hurt anything. That's, again, you're treating the fuel, not the engine.
Okay. All right. I'll look for that.
You'll be in good shape. Yep. No, thanks for the call, Edward. We appreciate it very much. Chuck and Cheyenne, hang tight. We're going to take a quick break, come back, talk to you on the 6-liter turbo or a supercharger for your 2013, I should say, GMC 2500. We'll talk to you as soon as we come back. Don't go away. Line open. Give us a call, 303-477-5600. 30 minutes left of Drive Radio is all, and we'll be back right after these messages. KLZ 560, The Source.
Have you failed an emissions test and don't know what to do? Have you been trying to fix it yourself? Arvada West is your answer. We score 100% on our success ratio. That's confidence for the customer. We are always willing to explain the repair process to you. We use a proven diagnostic format that we have developed since the emissions program began here in Colorado. For an honest, understandable, and reasonably priced diagnosis, stop by and see us. We've helped clean our Colorado air since 1981. Call Arvada West Auto and Truck 303-422-1065 or see us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com. If you would like to stop by to make an appointment, we are at 11752 West 64th Avenue.
Need a one-stop auto repair solution in Boulder? At John's 4x4 Center, they service and maintain more than just 4x4s. From big trucks to diesel pickups, their team of service specialists and technicians have the computer diagnostics, tools, and expertise to service and repair any make or model. They combine their skills with integrity, giving you the best service in the industry. From preventative maintenance to major repairs, you can trust your vehicle to John's 4x4. Located on Arapahoe Road, just east of 63rd, behind Carpet 1. They're open Monday through Friday, 7:30 until 5:30, with convenient shuttle service and after-hours drop. If you're ready to form a solid relationship with an auto repair shop, the new owners at John's 4x4 Center are committed to providing the personal and professional service you're looking for. Give them a call at 303-449-2640. Check them out on the web or follow them on Facebook at johns4x4.com.
Have you ever wished there was a place you could take your car, put it on a lift, and work on it yourself? My name is Craig Wallace, owner of DIY Auto Repair Shops. We have the lift, the tools, and the expertise. We offer a multi-tier program that allows you to do it yourself, technically assisted, or we can fix it for you. Check us out online at DIYAutoRepairShops.com or give us a call at 303-429-4000. Again, that's 303-429-4000. Let us know you heard about DIY on Drive Radio, and you'll receive 50% off your first DIY hour. We look forward to helping you succeed repairing and maintaining your car.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind Warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
All right, thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it. One line open is all. 303-477-5600 is our number. And yeah, we had somebody call in and say, you know, John, you talk a lot about, you know, points of contact, Facebook, etc. I get that all of you out there do not have Facebook, and my dad's one of those. I understand that. That's why we give you multiple points of contact. Drive-radio.com. You can call the studio line here, 303-477-5600. Send me an email directly, john@drive-radio.com. Or you can go to Facebook, facebook.com/Drive Radio. So lots of points of contact. We do that on purpose. We know all of you use different various means to figure out what's going on, and we try to cover that as best we can, and ultimately here every Saturday for 3 hours. So line open. Call us. We'll get you right on air, 303-477-5600. Anything you want to talk about. Chuck, you're up next. What's going on today?
Yeah, thank you guys for your show.
Thank you.
And I have a 2013 GMC Sierra 2500 with a 6.0.
Okay.
And was wondering what your thoughts, or if you've had any experience with either turbocharging or supercharging.
Supercharging, yes. Turbocharging, not so much, just because typically speaking, for the plumbing and everything that's required to make all of that work, it's hard to even make them work properly, nonetheless have the proper warranty, etc. when you're all done. What I mean by that is your 2013 vehicle, you've still got warranty on it. Right. Typically speaking, the superchargers will add anywhere from 80 to 100 plus horsepower. They work well. They're designed for the unit in the first place. There's several different types. You can do the actual Roots type supercharger like a Magnuson that actually sits on top of the motor. You can do the Pro Chargers or the Vortec, which is basically a turbocharger with a belt attached to it to run the vanes and make the boost. All of them work fine. It's just each one has its own little, pluses and minuses.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know if I pronounced it correctly, but the centrifugal kind of mounts up there more like an alternator or something.
Correct.
So, seems like it'd be a lot easier to put on.
They are, but again, with each one, it's got pros and cons. Now, because remember, with the added pressures that you're making with either system, the heat goes up on intake temperatures. So, for example, Magnuson will make one that'll have an internal intercooler built into it to keep that air charge cooled down, because that's what helps make more power. Some of the centrifugal types like you're talking about, or the what I call basically a turbocharger with a belt on it, some have intercoolers built into them. Others do not. Those are some of the things that you've got to look at, and of course, with each one of them, it changes the price and what you're going to do. I like the Magnuson brand myself personally. I think they work really well. They're an OEM supplier, so they get what needs to take place to make things work properly. That's just me personally. I just like that brand. I like the supercharger. It's meant to go for well over 100,000 miles, and it's just a good unit.
Okay. And do you see? Do you think you're decreasing the overall life of an engine by using those, or
at our elevations? No, we're not.
Okay.
Because we're losing so much with the lack of air that we have already that really all you're doing with a supercharger at all our elevations getting you back to where you would be at sea level anyways.
Okay.
So no, in our elevation, none at all.
Okay.
It's just the biggest thing is just the simple expense of putting it on in the first place, but that versus going out and buying a different engine or a different truck with a bigger engine or a diesel or what have you is still cheaper.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm looking at. So,
yep.
And I hadn't seen that particular Magnuson.
Magnuson.
Okay.
Just spell it just like it's. If you just type into Google Magnuson superchargers, it'll pull it right up.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen several other brands and hadn't seen that one.
Magnuson makes a great supercharger. They work fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Appreciate it very much. Thanks for calling in. Let's go to Steve, who is next. Steve, welcome. What's going on today?
Oh, good afternoon. Oh, my Dodge. I have a 2000 Dodge pickup, four-wheel drive, 70,000 mile in it. I bought it brand new.
Okay.
Garage, oil change, and all that's been taken care of. A couple of days ago, after when I parked it for 20, 30 minutes, I tried to get out of there and turn the ignition on, and the car started and then died. And then started again and died. So I held my foot to the pedal and took off, and then babied it home. And then next time I tried to drive it was fine. And it happened, the same thing happened yesterday. Seems like the idle speed is a little bit less than I used to be, a little bit. Maybe, I don't know what to do with it.
Do you have any warning lights, like a check engine light on or anything? Nothing.
It just, if I held up the second time, the first time also, and I held the RPM up to about 900 or something like that, then I can put it in gear, and after it's run fine, as long as I don't totally let the gas back. And I'm moving slowly, like a stop sign or things like that. And it fixed itself, and I don't know, maybe should take it in somewhere and check it.
Yeah, does it do that all the time now, not just after you let it set for a while?
No, it's fine. No, again, I just came back from Safeway and stopped at the stoplights and everything, and it's fine now. But it seems like the idle speed is a little bit less than it was regularly. Maybe 100 less or something like that.
Okay. Yeah. And what have you done any maintenance to the vehicle up to this point? In other words, injection cleaning, upper engine cleaning, spark plugs, things like that. What all have you done up to this point, Steve?
Not a thing.
Okay.
And you said it had how many miles on it?
70,000.
70,000.
You're at a point where you're due for everything I just mentioned on that particular vehicle, especially. You're due for a upper engine cleaning, spark plugs. Look at the fuel filter, of course. Well, fuel filter's in the tank on that, so you can't do anything on that. But just general maintenance is what I'm getting at, because here's the deal. If it gets carboned up, which those are really prone to do, you could very easily have some issues coming out of nothing more than just the engine having some carbon buildup. And that could very well be all that's wrong with it.
Yeah, it could be sucking up the fuel and making it run extremely lean. The carbon could be. You could have a fuel delivery issue too. I'd have it checked for that. Make sure it's got good pump pressure and volume, and have a shop run that through its test. Have them do a hot soak with it, kind of like what you did when you drove it somewhere, parked it for a half an hour when it's hot out during the day, and then go restart it and see what the fuel system does.
Exactly.
I see. And I have one more question.
Sure, go right ahead.
500 ml, 2005. I don't know if you folks work with Mercedes, but this car, they have to pump out the oil when they're changing of oil. Is that right? The only way.
What kind of car was it?
500 ml Mercedes.
Uh-huh. That's a 2005.
Okay, it's an 05, and they have to pump the oil out to change it. Okay.
Yeah, then I just took it down to the Mercedes place and checked the oil. Not dirty. And they said there's some stay in it.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a nice ringtone you got there, Doris. He's got the quacker going on here in the background. To my knowledge, I don't know why that would not have a drain plug on it.
I don't either. That's a gas engine.
Yeah, it should have a drain plug. There's no reason. Now, I will say this. There are a lot of shops, to make things easier when it comes to changing oil, they do suck the oil out instead of draining it. They don't have to worry about a drain plug getting messed up or a washer on it, etc. But I would not do it that way if it were me. I would drain it completely, change the filter, and put new oil in it.
Yeah, they may not be getting all the old oil out.
Correct.
Probably not, because it's pretty dirty.
Yeah, they're leaving some behind, and that's why it's staying dirty.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. All right.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, Steve. Appreciate the phone call. Let's go to Luke, who's next. Line open, by the way, 303-477-5600. Luke, what's going on?
Okay, thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
And I bought an 01 Dodge Ram 1500 3 months ago.
Okay.
And it had 164,000 miles on it, and it was only getting 10 miles per gallon.
Okay.
And so I did a full tune-up on it. Plug wires, spark plugs, rotor, distributor cap, filter, and I got it up to about 13.7. And I was wondering if I can get any more gas mileage out of it and what I need to do.
You're doing pretty well where you're at.
Yeah. How many miles were on that?
165.
Ooh. Yeah. The only other thing I'd try is motor vac it.
Yeah. Top engine clean, decarbonization is what he's saying.
Well, it seemed to go up a little bit when I put in the Lucas fuel treatment.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, and that's right along the lines of what Dorsey's talking about. We're just going to take that one step further and do a full pressurized decarbonization of the engine, which will just give you more added benefit than what you've done. But I say all that to say this. The best you're probably going to see out of that vehicle, and I know because I've owned some of these in the past, etc., the best you're going to see with that's going to be the 14, 15 range around town. That's about it.
Right.
So you're not far off of that right now. Now, I also will tell you that decarboning the engine, you're not going to hurt anything. So even if you do it and the mileage doesn't increase, so what? You've still got the carbon out of it. You're still better off than you were. Extends the life of the engine, the rings, etc. So there's nothing wrong with doing it. It's just it may not make your mileage increase much.
Right. Now, I talked to some guys down at O'Reilly's, and he suggested putting in a K&N air filter assembly.
Yeah, and that could potentially help you with mileage, although even us and K&N, and K&N's one of our big sponsors, love them, love their products. They're one of the best companies on the market, but even they will not sell you that based upon fuel economy.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I can't justify that. They want $250.
Yeah, they're trying to sell you a cold air intake is what they're doing. That may give you some economy. It will give you some power, so I will tell you that right now. On that particular vehicle, it will get you some more power out of it. You could also just put in the K&N element itself, and that would give you some added value. And it won't. I doubt if it's going to do anything to change the fuel economy, but you end up with an element that you can clean, thereby not having to throw a filter away every time you go to change the element out.
Right.
So K&N is always a good value, especially their drop-in replacement filters. The cold air intakes, you've got to weigh out whether you can make the case for the savings. Typically, you're not going to save enough in fuel to pay for it. That's not why most people buy them. Most people are buying them for the performance side of the fence.
Well, I read the chart over there, and it says at about 4,800 RPM, somewhere around there, it gives you 11.8 horsepower more.
Correct, and that's true, and that's wide open throttle, really running the vehicle hard, and that's why I say you're not going to gain much in the way of fuel economy because that vehicle rarely hits 4,800 RPM.
Yeah, I don't like taking it up there because it really hurts the miles per gallon.
Correct. That's exactly, and that's why everything I just said is exactly why I said
Even
it.
if you were going to do that, I'd still decarbonize it. Because
Correct.
carbon can cause other problems. It can cause valve seat issues, valve guide issues, low manifold vacuum.
Other issues on down the road. And by the way, the reason we're recommending that, and everybody else listening, just FYI, the vehicle Luke has is more prone for carboning up than other like vehicles in the same vintage. That's why we're telling you that, Luke, because that one especially is really prone for carboning up.
Oh. I wonder why that would be.
Just the way that the engine was designed, etc. I can't tell you exactly. I'm not an engineer on that, but just experience tells us those carbon up worse than other engines of the same year.
Yeah, because I was amazed when I put that tune-up and that fuel treatment that the gas mileage went up over 3.5 miles per gallon.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
One more question if you have time.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay, I took my truck over to Meineke at the Highlands Ranch, and they did the AC on it for about $950, which shocked me. But the guy over there who did it, he's a Dodge Ram guy. He owns one himself, so we knew how to work on it, and it works real well. But he said if I put dual exhaust on there, that would also increase more my horsepower than my gas mileage.
Well, a dual won't do anything. A good 3-inch single exhaust will get you some more power, but it's probably not going to do much for fuel economy.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just looking for a little bit more horsepower and mileage.
Yeah, it'll give you horsepower. But the cold air intake and the exhaust combined will give you some horsepower, no doubt about it.
Well, it's got good power. I don't complain about the power.
Yeah. No, and sorry, Luke, we're up against a break. I apologize. We got to run. Appreciate your phone call. Line open. 303-477-5600. We'll be right back right after these messages. Don't go away. Call us. We'll get you right on air. Again, 303-477-5600. Drive Radio. John Rush, your host. KLZ 560, the source.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle.
No big deal. Anytime you want to stretch those brakes out, not a big deal.
To take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care Center.
Perfectly fine.
They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind Warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
Napa know-how! You like car stuff. Napa has car stuff, like fuel stuff, brake stuff, even cleaning stuff. And the only thing better than car stuff is car stuff that's half off. So stock up on your car stuff with half off selected stuff. Conquer the job. That's Napa know-how. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 6/30/14.
Having transmission problems? Stop by Larry's Automotive today. We're your only Colorado Select Auto Care in North Denver that also specializes in automatic and manual transmissions. We're a family-owned small business taking care of your family-owned fleet of cars, trucks, and SUVs since 1994. We specialize in transmission and drivetrain problems and offer a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. We're also an ATRA member. Call us at 303-427-2108 for an appointment or find us on the web at coloradoselect.com. Larry's Automotive, a proud member of Colorado Select Auto Care.
I'm going to teach you right now how to find a good, honest mechanic. Ask about the warranty. Their warranty will tell you everything you need to know because their warranty is their word. And Colorado Select Auto Care Centers all offer the best warranty in the state. 3 years, 36,000 miles on every repair. Always select a Colorado Select Auto Care Center at coloradoselect.org. 3 years, 36,000 miles. It's all you need to know.
All right, last segment, Drive Radio. I'm your host, John Rush. Been here with me today has been Dorsey Johnson. Appreciate Dorsey coming out and helping out. And Dorsey's wife, Paula, does a lot of our scheduling, behind-the-scenes work. Larry Younger on the other side of the glass does all of our phone screening and getting things dialed in for us and helping us produce the show. Appreciate both those guys helping us out. Got a couple lines open, 303-477-5600. Bill is up next. Bill, what's going on today?
Yes, I inherited a 1999
Lincoln Town Car.
Good for you.
And it was it's got low miles, 73,000. It was my aunt's car, and she drove it to the bank and doctor and stuff like that. When I get it on the highway, it goes through first, second, third gear and goes into overdrive. But then I hear like I'm going over a cattle guard noise.
Okay. You've got a shudder, basically, is what you're trying to say?
Right.
Okay.
And any ideas what that's causing that?
Oh, it could be the lockup converter shuddering, which would be my first thought process would be the torque converter shuddering. Have you, you may or may not know this, has the transmission been serviced recently at all?
That I don't know.
Okay, that'd be the first place to look, especially being a 99, that low of miles. I would look at it, have somebody inspect it, of course, first, but ultimately I think what you're going to end up having to do is do a transmission service, do a flush on it, get everything out of it, get some new stuff in it, then drive it and see what changes or if it does.
Okay.
I'm guessing it probably will.
Do the flush first.
Yes, that would be my recommendation. What part of town are you in, Bill?
Greeley.
Yeah, I mean, the closest we've got to you is either Fort Collins or Longmont's kind of your choice, or find somebody up there near you that could do it.
Okay.
But I would flush it first.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, Bill. Thanks so much for your phone call, 303-477-5600. And Dennis is coming up next here. As soon as Larry gets him on hold, we will get you right on air and get that going. But yeah, back to Bill's question, the shudder, just so everybody, we talked about this a few weeks ago, but the torque converter is the coupling device between the engine and the automatic transmission. There's a certain amount of slippage that has to go on, or you wouldn't be able to stop at a stoplight. You wouldn't be able to push on the brake and have the engine not die. So what happened is, years ago, clear back in the early 80s, they determined, hey, we can get some more fuel economy out of these transmissions if we get the torque converter to lock up solid, no slippage when we're at highway speeds. Now what's happened is, and in 99 it was still this way also, as time has gone by, that's got much more sophisticated, and we're locking up the converter early and earlier and earlier now. And think of it as having like some clutches inside the converter that allow it to lock up, and when it does, it can potentially shudder if things aren't working properly with the fluid. So that's why we kind of recommended that. Dennis, you're up next. What's going on today? Hello, Dennis.
Yeah, I got a 91 Dodge Dakota.
Okay.
Short bed, and I've been getting a squeak when I apply the brakes about 10, 15 miles an hour. Had the drums turned. They were all right, but we had turned anyway. Applied all the hardware in the wheel was solid and on tight, and changed U-joints both on the front and rear U-joint. Also U-joint in the 4x4. Changed that. Make sure drives have a balance. I still get the squeak.
So is the squeak there all the time, or just when you're applying the brakes?
Just when applying the brake.
Okay, then all of the other things you did, no offense, didn't do any good, because the drive shafts being balanced, U-joints, etc., none of those would have an effect on a squeak going down the road when you just push on the brake. When you did the brakes, did you actually, service the calipers, grease everything up like it was supposed to be, make sure everything was good and clean, resurface the rotors, etc.?
Right, no, it's drums on back.
Okay, drums on. Is the squeak coming from the back or the front?
From the back.
It is for sure in the back. Okay, when you did the brakes on that, did you actually turn the drums, lubricate all of the places where the brake shoes attached, or slide on the backing plates, etc.?
Yes, everything's right like that.
What kind of grease did you use?
It's from Shell Station. I guess regular grease. I'm not sure what that.
Well, and the reason I ask is because on brakes, especially on those shoes, Napa and other companies, actually, other parts stores sell too, but Napa specifically, they make a graphite-specific brake-type grease that we all use in our shops to lubricate the touching points of those brakes. It doesn't watch off. It's high temperature, so it doesn't burn off. And it really works well for preventing squeaks. The other thing was the condition of the shoes. I mean, are they really good? Did you use a high-quality shoe, or did you use Reman shoes? How did you do that?
They're really good.
Okay. So new shoes, resurface the drums. I would make sure that all of the grease touching points are correct, and make sure that you're greasing everything, not just the brake hardware itself, but actually the backing plate, where the shoes ride, onto the wheel cylinders themselves, etc.
Is that a grease or a spray?
It's an actual grease that you would use a brush or your finger to apply.
I see.
And if you're not doing that, that's very possible. The other thing to make sure of on that is, over time, those brake shoes could actually put grooves into the backing plate, and if it's grooved and the backing plates are bad, you'll have to fix that, or the squeak will never go away.
I see. And that's one thing we didn't do.
Okay. Check all that really well to make sure that all that's in great shape.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
You're very welcome, Dennis. Thanks for the phone call. And guys, with that, that's probably it for phone calls. We've only got about a minute and a half left of the show, and wanted to make another couple announcements just to make sure everybody knows what's going on here in the future. Next Saturday, again, if you know somebody that could use a free oil change, especially single lady, single mom, somebody in need, please do that. Real quick, I'll give you that number to make a reservation, 720-588-0691, or email mensministry@coloradoridge.com. The following week, we're going to be out at Extreme Auto Repair out in Parker. We've got a big garage sale. We'll have the radio show there, do a big remote, etc. We also had a question that came in. Anna asked, when storing a battery, can you put it on concrete? Yes, you can. That's an old wives' tale that you can't. I think that came from the fact that there was a lot of temperature variations in the concrete that typically was what was drawing the battery down. There is no relation to the concrete sucking voltage out of the battery like we used to say. We store them there all the time. No big deal, no harm done. You can do that all day long. So guys, with that, we're getting run out of time. Again, come out next week to the oil change, the free oil change. If you know somebody that needs that, make that reservation. You can find that also on our website, drive-radio.com. Look at our website, drive-radio.com. Find all of our car reviews. I talked about the FJ I'm driving now. We've done lots of reviews here recently. Check them all out. There's video reviews, written reviews. Watch it, use it. Go to our YouTube channel, subscribe to it, watch our videos, and most of all, listen to our show each week. If you know somebody out there that needs help, have them listen in and call us on a weekly basis. Larry Younger, Larry's Automotive on the other side of the grass. Thanks, Matt, our engineer, Dorsey Johnson. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Everybody have a great week. Listen to me this week. Rush to Reason every day at 2 p.m. Also going to be on Wake Up, Randy Corcoran Show, first thing in the morning on Wednesday. Tune in. Don't go away, and stay with us throughout the week here on KLZ. I'm your host, John Rush. Rush to Reason. God bless.
We knew it was going to happen.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for the highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
Learn how to achieve peace of mind in retirement from your local trusted advisor, Brian Ditton, on the Financial Safari Radio Show, now airing Sunday mornings at 7 on KLZ 560, The Source.
Hey, it's Randy Corcoran. Are you up early, hungry for news, politics, opinion, all focused on the march back to liberty? Then please join us